peaking? Are we peaking a bit loud? Yeah? We can't understand you. It sounds like you're a dolphin. Does it? I think my mic is broke. Okay, let me have a look. Let me do this. Hold your ears. Is that better now? Now it's good. I think it was my USB. My USB cable. All that dancing. It shook me USB cable loose. Whew, heaven forbid. My USB cable's all gone loose. It's normal now. Okay, thank you, Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga! Captain Catherine. Aquiitis. I never get it right. Skylar. Full-time job. Layer Cake Dev. That's a cool sounding name. Geoflame WPG. JC Slicer. Jonathan MLH. The wonderful Jonathan MLH, who once again I'm going to thank for his fantastic CNC machine. Choke. That wonderful CNC machine, which is now, I would have you know, set up in my garage, annoying the crap out of everybody because they can't bring they can't park their cars in my driveway in my garage anymore because I've taken it over. Yep. This summer, I get to play with my CNC because it's not so freaking cold, and I've got the wireless set up in there, and I've got some power set up in there, but I've discovered that we haven't done the roof. The roof hasn't been, what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Insulated. Yeah, getting old. It's been a long time since Stargate. So, yeah, I've got to do that at some point. So sometime during the summer, I'm going to have to shove some fiberglass crap up into the rafters and hope that I can survive a winter in there because I want to use the garage like full time for stuff. And boy, we've got stuff to do. Anyways, I've been talking to McCordick about what we can do for them as well. Maybe able to make a few little sort of fun sensory toys for the kids at McCordick. So McCordick being this is this school for developmental and physical. Kids with developmental and physical disabilities. Just amazing place. Just an absolutely freaking lovely bunch of people looking after a lovely bunch of people. And I find it, I don't know. I said to my wife the other day, I emailed them the other day, and I said, like, it just makes me feels like you can do something. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I love helping them out because it just gives me such a feeling of like, hey, look at that. I have something to give other than just my silly acting. Anyways, you're going to make them. Yeah. So the idea is to come up with some sensory stuff for them. I'm hoping for some electronic stuff as well, but we'll see. I'm now thinking maybe we should do some escape room stuff. Like maybe don't lock the kids with physical and developmental disabilities in rooms and have them work their way out. That's not what I was thinking, just to be very clear. But be just kind of fun for them to play with some locks and like have them on boards and things so they can open and close stuff. Apparently they love it. They love switching on lights and lights off and on. I shouldn't say they, not all of them, but a certain portion of them love to do that kind of stuff. It's sort of this interactive, this feeling of accomplishment. One of the teachers, which I love this, one of the teachers has rigged up a big button that he can plug anything into. So if he's making them smoothies for their snack, he plugs the blender in, gets it all ready, and then the kids can bang hit the button and start the blender. And of course, they get such a kick out of being able to have that control. So like I say, I am chipper because I am overcompensating for the fact that my wife has literally just left me. She has just got in a car and driven to the airport and is flying to New Zealand, where she will spend the next God knows how long doing location scouts and pre-production on her next film. And I'm here. Yep, Toronto, woohoo! And as it turns out, I love it. I don't love that she's gone. I love where I am. I like my little basement setup. Although I am going to go to London for a little while. This is not London, UK. Nothing as glamorous as that. It's London, Ontario. Woo, that's glam. Where I'm going to do another Jake Horowitz film, which I'm very excited about. He's got a new film that he's doing, and very kindly, or maybe just out of desperation, asked me to come and do a few days on that. Probably a few jobs. Knowing Jake, probably is a few jobs, but I'm going to attempt to watch this while riding my bike home. Captain Catherine, maybe you should listen to this on your bike home. I think watching this seems like I feel personally responsible for your two-wheeled safety at this point. Okay, so do you have to walk the dog every day? Burn and learn. I have to walk the dog well, basically, Jonathan MLH, I am anyways. I wondered about doing a walk and talk. Like, should I just throw on a pair of headphones and chat while I walk the dog sometime? The only problem with that, I guess, is that are we going to get weird people trying to hunt me down. Like the what is it? Like the, what's it called? The most dangerous game? Ah, yeah. Hunted. Fatal Lysol. Thank you so much for your subscription. And why Fatal Lysol? Lysol the spray, I guess. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. So what I do is as soon as you join up, I immediately start, making fun of your name. That seems what I do. First time chat from Goaul33. Can't possibly be a Stargate fan. No way. Hey, from a huge fan from France. Well, bonjour. Merci. Et bienvenue. Is that welcome? I think that's welcome, isn't it? Or did I just declare war on France? Danish Duckling. David is Chippy. Oh, my God. Danish Duckling. What have you done to me? How does it feel to be 75? Oh, my God. It is. I feel every minute of it, especially when I have to talk to my little sister, Kate, who still, to this day, has the best birthday video thing because of that movie. I love that little video clip I sent the other day. It was a great Anquiitis. Thank you, Anquiitis. I'll get it one day. You know what I should do? I'm going to cut and paste it. Look at this. I'm going to cut and paste this. Okay, I'm going to cut. Can I paste it? How do I do this? I'm going to Control-C. I'm going to put it on a note on my desktop. How's that? And then I have no excuse. Well, now I don't have an excuse. Damn it! I've just got rid of the only excuse I have for getting your name wrong every time. LMN. Is there no notebook on this? I think I stripped this down to its bare minimum. Oh my God, I'm having computer woes. Hold me. I'm having computer woes. Here's the other thing I started doing now, is I started making folders. I make a new folder, and I put the things I want to remember in them, so they're always where I want them to be. There you go. A file can't contain any of the following characters. What? It can't? Oh, come on. Why not? It should totally be allowed to do that. Anquiitis. There we go. Does it not like the little... What does it not like? What does it not like? Anquiitis? Will that do it? It cannot contain... Are there weird things in there? I didn't think there were weird things in there. All right. Anyways. I got to type it out for myself. There we go. A sec. Ank. I gotta put ank. What did I say? TAS. Got it. All right. So when I can't remember your name, just say, look at your folders. Okay. So computer woes. Let me share this with you. Hey, like the Fonz. Fonzie. Not I? Oh, it's E. Oh, I gotta get that wrong, didn't I? Fonzie. All right. Anquiitis. How was it? How did I say it again? Wait a second. I gotta look it up now. Cal! What are you doing? Cal, how could you not have... I feel like Cal subscribes multiple times a month. Little Cal. Cal, who found photos of my bottom online. Decided to share them with me. It's a long story. Can't wait to hear about it. Okay, computer woes. Here we go. So, I have this gorgeous laptop. I'm going to go and get it. Well, I had what I thought was a gorgeous laptop. It was this... I should have known this because you know what? Even Cal warned me about this. But this is an Asus, ROG, Republic of Gamers, lighty up laptop. And I liked it because it was fast. Pretty fast. And it doesn't know what I have to say. I think it has like something crazy, like a 2070 in it or something like that. Anyways, so I got a tiny little bit of coffee somehow into it. Just tiny little, like a tiny bit. I send it off to get it fixed. They want $2,900 to fix it. The laptop, I could buy a brand new one of these for. I literally spent less money on a special at Staples or something on this. I got it because I was like, I need a laptop, and it was like on special for something crazy cheap, like $1,000 or something. And I got it, and now they want $2,000 to fix it. And I was like, well, screw that. That's freaking nuts. So no more Asus Rogue bull honky around here. So I started looking up laptops because here's the problem. I've also got Lord Chunky working on some parts for me as well, because the reality is I've got I've got this PC here, which I use for my streaming, which I try not to mess with, but I have recently done a little bit of messing with it because of it's all Gimpy G's fault. But I have done a little bit of messing with it recently, not with any huge problems. Thank you very much, Copilot. So I try to keep that just for streaming. I feel like that's probably my best bet. So Wormhole 42 will be right back, just so everyone knows, if anyone's worried about it. Anquiitis has given up on me entirely. I'm just going to call you Anquiitis now from now. That's all I got. Anquiitis? No. Anyways, point being is, I started looking into this amazing Epic Games Unreal for Fortnite, which just sounds like what a great gateway into game design for kids and stuff. I talked to Baz about it, or should I say Ham. Jack Jasper, thank you very much. Jack Jasper, for everyone who doesn't know, everyone should be following Jack Jasper because he has a wonderful art stream that he does. And it's just fantastic. And also you should be hiring him to do all sorts of graphic design stuff for you as well. He does all of our little emoticons and things around here, whatever they're called, emojis, whatever these Twitch things are called. So I was looking at upgrading this computer, and I thought, I'll upgrade this computer so I can use it for the whole Unreal Engine side of stuff. And then I was like, what am I saying? Forget it. There's no freaking way, because in order to have a stable stream, I need to leave the computer alone. If I start plugging things in and installing stuff, it always goes wrong. It always goes pear-shaped, like myself. Pear-shaped with little tiny sticks for legs. That's how it goes when I mess around with this stuff. So I decided to look for parts to maybe get myself a new computer. Crazy expensive. I could not get over how expensive it still was to build, admittedly, an Epic computer. Then I started looking at laptops, and I'm like, you know what? I know they're not as fast, but they come with a screen. They come with everything I need. They're in a portable mode so that if I do have to go somewhere, and I do find myself, I have this weird sense, I'm like a cat. I roam around the house curling up with my laptop in different places. So maybe it makes sense to have a laptop. I can plug it in through my HDMI thing, and I can share the window that way, because, I got to hop on my bike, so be able to chat, but we'll still listen. Good. Don't look, just listen. So I've started looking at laptops, but again, I'm looking at I'm trying to find some specials. Like, I'd love to find something around the $1,000, but it's Canadian. $1,000 Canadian is like a $600 freaking, what are they called? Like, they're like a Chromebook. You can get a Chromebook for that. I can't use a Chromebook. I was looking at maybe like, how low should I go with a laptop? And we'll talk to Lord Chunky about this, but I was thinking maybe could I go with like a 350 or something like that? Like, would that be, you could probably go lower. I think the stats on Unreal they're saying like a 20 series GPU, and but obviously any kind of a bump on that's going to help. I started loading it on my laptop, and even the M1, which I guess is emulating stuff, it was 20 minutes just to load the freaking thing. So we'll see. I think it needs to be that. Yeah, 2,500 to 3K for a gaming laptop. That's it. Well, 3080 would be fantastic. Bought a great desktop on a good sale for 2,500. Yeah, the desktops are cheaper. But here's the deal, though. This is my frustration with the desktop. I don't have. So you need a monitor, right? Now, I mean, I guess I suppose I could use one of my monitors for that. But yeah, I suppose I could do that. But so maybe I should do that. I don't know. I just like the idea that for the same price, for $2,500, I can have a laptop that also has a giant freaking screen on it as well. I mean, Lenovo. Yeah, I was looking at the Lenovo's, but I wasn't looking at the flip ones because I don't know why, but that just reminds me of like old Stargate computers. No, I feel like I would do the Lenovo Legion. I like the look of the Legions. They look good. Wait for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and get a good deal. Oh, when is that? When do they do that stuff, the Nick? That's I mean, like, I'm always looking for deal. You know me, I'm always looking for deals. You too have a deal. TechBandits, deals are us. Can I ask all you wonderful folks, is a 3 terabyte hard drive enough for The Sims? 3 terabytes should be more than enough, shouldn't it? For anything. 3 terabytes. I mean, I get away with 1 terabyte on most things. 2 terabytes if I've got a lot of like video stuff. Lenovo Yoga or X1. Yeah, Malvitano, you like the Yoga, really? But what about, but for gaming, isn't the, hello Melvitano, by the way, the Legion just gets these great reviews, that's all. 3 terabytes for one game, that is insane, says Mark Lapointe. Yes, 3 terabytes is absolutely plenty. Sims is not, well, maybe it is. And then here's the other thing that's so funny is, so if I was just gaming, my son has got this PlayStation 5, which I said don't get. I was like, Ham, don't do it. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. Don't spend the money. Waste of money. So he ignored me, and he saved up and he bought it. And I've actually kind of loved it. I never play it, but I love that it's in the living room, and my son comes in and plunks himself down, and we talk about whatever soccer game he's working on, you know, whatever FIFA game he's working on. And we talked about, he's the one who introduced me to this whole idea of the Fortnite for Unreal Engine and just some really cool stuff. And so I found it actually quite a weirdly bonding experience, and no tech support. Unlike the freaking Windows machines, you're not dealing with all the issues that come with it, which of course I love because I'm a nerd. I love all the problems. So here's the plan. The plan so far is I've got this stuff called, where is it? All right, Deoxent. Everyone claims that this stuff is a magical cure-all for everything. So I'm going to hose my laptop down with this to get off any potential corrosion or coffee or tea or drinking damage that I've got to it, and see if I can fire the thing up again. If I can fire it up, fantastic, I'll use that. If not, I think I'm going to have to bite the bullet. I think I'm going to have to actually, like, pick up something. The question is, do you get something cheap and cheerful for the time being, or do you go, I'm not going to go top of the line. I don't have the money for that. But I want to go for something that's going to at least, I don't mind spending a bit of money on a laptop if it's going to last me many, many years. The issue I have with this frickin' Asus thing was that it lasted me maybe 8 months. And then it had an accident. I've had Macs that have lasted for like decades, with all sorts of disasters happening around them and to them and all the rest of it. So framework laptops seem cool. You can get them in your country. Yeah, the framework stuff looks amazing. They're just not cheap though, right? What I liked about the Legion as well is that the parts seemed fairly upgradable. You could put in new RAM. You could put in new, what are they called? M1. What are they called? SSDs. And are they SSDs or they're actually just memory things, whatever they are. They're like big chunks of memory that you use for storage. So you could put a ton of storage in this thing if you wanted to. You can upgrade the battery. There's just stuff you can do with the Legions that you just can't do with a lot of the other ones out there, including that Asus ROG crap. Anyways, you could also get a nice desktop setup and then have a laptop or a Streamlight type setup to play games on your TV. Yeah, I mean, M2 SSDs. Thank you, Layer Cake. You are so dramatic in real as well. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, what's the point? What's the point of not, melting down every opportunity you have? I mean, like, I think it's safe to say that there were a few. I think there's a few things that are sort of McKay-like that I think I definitely sort of cling to. Shipping damage. Shipping damage? What? He's had his coffee today, I think. Shut up, Jonathan LH. I mean, shut the front door. Yes, I have. I've had a lot of coffee today, and as I say, I'm overcompensating for the sadness, the deep sadness and void that's in my heart right now because my wife has left me. Yeah, I'm going to keep saying that. My wife left me. That's like, because, drama, as I've said. MacBook won't load. It starts, I put in my password, it starts to load, but then it doesn't. Can that be fixed? Mandy. Yes. Well, often, I mean, look, what I find with the Macs is once they go wrong, they go wrong. I mean, when they go wrong, they tend to go seriously wrong. But starts to put the password in, starts to load, but then that doesn't. Yeah, there's a bunch of different. I can't remember the little combinations, the little Vulcan nerve pinches that you have to do on the Macs. But there's a combination of keys you can hold, and it'll reset it. And you can also boot it into an emergency mode. So look up booting into emergency mode, so you can sometimes boot into emergency mode, pull any data you want off the laptop. And then like you sort of use it as a big hard drive instead of a laptop. And then you could just wipe it and put the operating system back on again. And sometimes that'll do it. Other crazy one, I know this is going to sound like a freaking insanity, but I've put laptops in the freezer for a little while and then rebooted them, and they've worked. They've worked great. I there's something about heating and contracting. Sometimes there's little connections that go wrong, but that's worked for me in the past too. So, and if I break, and if anything gets broken, then you can't blame me, because you're like, why would you ask some guy, some TV genius, as to what to do with your laptop? I mean, it just seems foolish to me. I gotta say, dude, love you. Wife out is party on. Yeah, party on. You know what it means to me? I'll tell you exactly what it means to me. It means 3 freaking dog walks a day instead of 2. That's what it means. God damn, the bloody mutt. Probably out there now, barking away. Don't see it, actually. It's probably digging holes. She's probably dug a hole. I should check, actually. Oh, right, I'm in charge of her now. I should probably check. Goat! How are you, Goat? Shanlaus. My Asus battery died during a BIOS update. I plugged it in beforehand, but forgot to turn it on at the wall. Yeah, I've had so many issues with the Asus. It just freaking drugs. It sucks. Just sucks. Ballistic Gamer says battery life sucks because of Mac has their own special firmware. I mean, the Mac stuff, I've got to say, I love. I freaking love the Macs. I'm sorry. I love the Dell Precision i9 CPU, upgradable to 128 of RAM. 300 USD, what? Oh, that's just for the RAM. The only downside with the model is that due to it being a workstation replacement laptop, the battery doesn't last long. I don't really care. You know what I mean? I really don't care about how big it is. To some extent, I say that. Should I? No, I don't think I do. I don't think I care. I don't think it matters to me. You know what I mean? The Mac firmware, because I wiped it and put Linux on it. Ooh, yeah, Linux is fun. I've got what do I have running on? I've got is it Kali? I've got Kali Linux running on one of my old little MacBooks, and it's just freaking fantastic. I love it. Fatal Lysol says that I'm new here, and I was a big fan of SGA. Well, good for you. You should be. Isn't everyone? What was your favorite SGA line? Oh, my God, there's so many. I think it involved snapping and pointing. I think I liked a lot of that. Fumbles Big Stupid was a fun one. Crazy, what is it? Unstable Like a Fox. There's so many. There's too many good lines. You know, if you look on YouTube, there's on my YouTube channel going way, way, way back a million years. While I was doing Stargate, before I knew what YouTube was or how to do anything with it, I still don't really. But I used to post my favorite line from the episode that I was on. And I wish I'd kept it up. I only did it for like 5 or 6 times. But there's some kind of fun ones where you'll actually see me standing in the field that we're shooting in, telling you what my favorite line of the episode is. So you should definitely go check that out. McKay's shop that did not happen. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I love all that stuff. Thought you were going to mention the video of you apologizing. Oh, yeah. That was so funny. That was just a silly little whim. I literally did that without thinking, and it's like the biggest video I've ever done. It's insane. Freaking insane. I should do a video about explaining it. Actually, that'd be really smart. I should do a video explaining the public apology so that I can revive that interest in the destruction of my life and career. Okay, I just rewatched that last night. Fatal Lysol, very good. That video was funny. The apology, Nixie Geek. Oh, so you did see it. Here's the other thing I'm going to throw out there. First time chat. Hello. Hope to see McKay in the next series of Stargate. I hope to see the next series of Stargate is what I'd like to see. Oh, thank you, iVirtual. So the other thing I've been thinking is, Cal's going to just freaking lose it. I'm thinking I need to reduce my Discord channels to 1. And I think I need to decide on a platform to stream on, and I think it should be YouTube. Is that crazy? I mean, like, not that I don't really appreciate everyone's subscriptions and stuff here. It's just that I feel like YouTube, everyone who I talk to, I end up talking to through YouTube. Twitch is very specific to gamers, and I think people my age and the people who enjoyed Stargate and all of my nerdy friends, they seem to be on YouTube more. Am I wrong? Is that a silly approach to this thing? Anyways, I'm thinking about that. I should probably talk to my TechBandits at some point, but I'm just so enjoying babbling on right now. How long have I talked for? Oh my God, I've talked for like half an hour. Holy crap. I joined Twitch because of you, and I'm 35. Oh, really? So I'm the only reason. Okay. YouTube is more for long-term videos. Well, but here's the thing, Hank. Like I end up like archiving these Twitch things to YouTube anyways. It just seems silly. Like it's just an extra element of work. I know Cal says she doesn't like, happy birthday to Cal, by the way. Cal says that she doesn't like the chat functions on YouTube and the modding, I guess. I don't know if that's the case. You know, one of my problems with Twitch is it's not on Roku. Oh, really? Yeah, that's the... Trevaro, that's a good point. That is a good point. YouTube, because YouTube is sadly still in the lead in people's consciousness restreaming. Yeah, I mean, but is that sad? YouTube has horrible discoverability, horrible chat. Come on, Cal! YouTube does not have worse discoverability than frickin' Twitch does it? Come on, grumpy Cal. One day Cal and I are going to meet. One day. One day. I look forward to it. One day Cal and I are going to have a huge company together. I don't know what it's going to do, but it's going to do something cool. All right. Forget YouTube. Really? Forget YouTube? Well, wait a sec. I might be talking to the wrong crowd. Like, I'm talking to people on Twitch about whether I should leave Twitch or not. Of course, you're going to say don't leave Twitch. But nope, YouTube is more discoverable. Yeah, that's what Nixie Geek says. And the Beckett. I just talked to the wonderful Beckett. Paul McGillian texted me the other day, and we went back and forth. We sent photos of our kids to each other and stuff. Just a sweet freaking guy. His kid, it's terrifying. His child has exactly that same, one of his children, has exact same hair. Like, it's uncanny. Don't think that's allowed by TOS. What? What's not allowed? Added stream features later. Twitch was designed for streaming from the start. Yes, you're right, Nomad Ninja. You're absolutely right. I just, meh. Critical Role does it. If they're allowed, there must be a way. Yeah, I think you can do it. I just don't think I think chances, I don't know how they would stop you from doing it, to be honest. But maybe there's a delay. You have to delay it a bit or something. I don't know. But yeah, I suppose you could do it to both. That would be amazing. You know what I mean? Okay, so Nehil, 1984. 39, like Twitch more than YouTube. I like Twitch. Don't get me wrong. I love Twitch. This whole setup thing, I freaking love it. But I've just always, when I go and look up anything, I look it up on YouTube. I never go to Twitch other than for people's live stuff. That's the only, I guess that's the point. Anyways, yeah, kind of funny. Does games daily on both Twitch and YouTube Monday to Friday. Who does that? He's that. I'm already old. And I'm 35. Yeah, no, we're old. Trust me. You don't even know from old. What do you know from old? Nothing. I also don't want yet another Google account for YouTube. Google is a mess if you prefer not to merge all your functionality into one account. Oh yeah, no kidding. Ank, I've been on frickin' YouTube since YouTube. And I've never understood it. I took an online course on YouTube content creation. That's my dog. I gotta go get it. And I still don't understand what the hell's going on because they change it weekly. Let me let the dog in. I'm back in a second. Amuse yourselves. What are you doing, you dumb mutt? You coming in? Come on. There you go. No, don't be kicking up a fuss. I'm streaming. I'm streaming. Nope, be good. I'm streaming. I'm not here for you. I'm not here for you. What are you doing? Oh, who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? You can't see her, but she's ridiculously irritating. Oh, she's gone. And also terrified of the camera, it seems. Okay, certainly not an actor. Thank God. Okay, so this one time, David did this thing, and what? Yeah, exactly. I had a YouTube account before Google bought it. Really? Wow, Krillin, I did not have that. I don't go far that back. I prefer the back end of YouTube to Twitch. Am I alone? I prefer the back end of YouTube to Twitch. I don't know. My thing about YouTube is that it allows you to look things up. When I go and look things up, I find things on YouTube and then I will watch them on YouTube. It's just easy. That's all. I'm just going to throw that out there. Doesn't OBS take care of everything? Yes. Yeah, basically it does. But I don't know how... I'm going to have to try doing a stream on YouTube. Cal, can we try a stream on YouTube? Cal's just going to say no. Cal's just going to... One day Cal will just break... One day I will break Cal and Cal will just disappear. It'll probably on a birthday like today. I do love YouTube. You can find so much more on there with OBS. Yes, OBS is good. Why not hire a streaming service and get a domain? How does that work? I'd love to do that. Don't ask me. You do you. On YouTube. What? On YouTube. Have to be in charge of kicking and banning. I have to do that? Mods can't do that. What? Cal? You won't protect me if I'm on YouTube? What a jerk. Yes, YouTube is Google. Therefore, most searches will pimp YouTube more than Twitch. I love the way these things get abbreviated. They just sound so much funnier, so much faster. I should say hello. I can't believe I haven't yet said hello to our Tech Bandit friend, Vibe Pup, who I'm sure is here somewhere. I thought I saw a name flick by somewhere in there, so I'm gonna say hello. Restream.io. Really? What does that do? Okay, Restream. Oh, wait a second. Is that a service that streams it to the different platforms? I like the idea of having. Is that my son home? I should find out. I'm on my own now, right? The house is my responsibility. So when I'm down here, if it's on fire, that's my problem, as opposed to Jane. Normally, it's Jane's problem. What the rest? What? What's this? Oh, cool. There's a friend of mine sending me information about Unreal Engine. You see, this is a real Unreal Engine person, like somebody who actually works in the film industry using Unreal Engine. And I'm like, please, sir, can you give me some more information? All right. Please don't set fire to yourself on live stream. Yeah, I leave that to Gimpy G. That's Lance's issue. Both are re-streaming sites. I'd like to send your feed there, and they split it to the platforms of your choice. Something else to pay for. Are you actually listening to anything? Why the headphones? Oh, because I was listening to music, and I will now listen to the wonderful Tech Bandits or anybody who's on here. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Am I on the right thing? I never get the right. This is the other problem with having two Discords. I'm never on the right Discord. Ever. Ever, ever, ever.
One.
Hello?
Oh, there he is.
Hey!
Finally.
We got Malvitano, I'm the Tech Bandit. We got Lance, and we got Vibe Pup.
We've been MST3K'ing you for the past half hour.
What does that mean?
Mr.
Mocking
Science
you.
Theater, yeah, basically mocking you.
Oh,
Yes.
great. Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, that's why I'm here, to be mocked and derided, basically. That's the whole point.
Okay, so listen. First order of business.
Yeah.
David, please.
Yeah. What?
For the love of all that is holy,
Oh, boy.
do not pour Deoxent onto your laptop. Please.
Oh, really?
I beg of you. I beg of you.
It's broken anyways. That won't that won't do it?
No, that won't do it.
Is it like I thought it was like, I got it because it said something about helping electrical contacts or something.
Oh, absolutely, yes, but it implies that you disconnect them and clean the contacts and then reconnect them.
Yeah. So I can't just spray the motherboard and then give it a little scrub with a toothbrush and try to get any corrosion off it.
I mean, if you open up the laptop all the way, then yes, it can help you there.
Well,
yes,
that's what I'm doing. I'm not spraying it into the laptop. I'm taking the motherboard out and I'm scrubbing the motherboard. That's my plan.
Okay.
You're like my wife. Who, I'll say things like,
Listen.
I'll say things like, I'll say, boy, I hope I don't put my hand in the fire while I'm cooking. And she'll say, oh, please don't. And I'm like, I'm kidding. Like, thank you for assuming I'm a freaking idiot. But she's always like, oh, David, I wouldn't run over your foot. I'm like, I was joking about running over my foot. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. How old is that laptop? Like a few years old or something?
It's like maybe 2 years. Well, maybe. Actually, there was a pandemic involved, so it could be anywhere from 2 months to 10 years.
Before the pandemic? Okay, so
I think it's pre-pandemic. Yeah, I think so. I think it's probably just before the pandemic. I got it.
Because I mean, as far as gaming laptops go, Asus makes a decent gaming laptop.
But they're just not terribly. They're resilient to coffee.
Right. Right.
I think what happened was it got sucked in somehow, because it just.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not
a matter of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a matter of it getting wet. It's a matter of it getting wet in just the wrong place.
Well, and this is it. I think the first thing that happened was it got into the HDMI port somehow, and then maybe the second time I did it, it got into the
second time
the USB port,
and
then I
wasn't enough damage.
But I was willing to pay to get it fixed. I was like, me culpa. I'm like, I have made a mistake. I will pay to fix it. And then they're like $2,900. I was like, what are you fucking fucking kidding? Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Vipup. That's not. That's just my coffee talking.
That seems excessive.
Doesn't that seem
being
crazy?
honest.
And they
Yeah.
sent it back and it's missing screws. I'm like, well, thank you so much for your undivided
Yeah.
attention on this. So, anyways.
Oh, so you sent it and then they sent it back.
Oh, I sent it, and then I asked them to send it back because they're like, well, do you want us to just dispose of it? I was like, no, I don't want you to just dispose of it. You know?
Oh.
I had the same thing with
Yeah,
my
see, that's-
eyeglasses
that's
the other
not
day.
great.
I went in, I got my lenses replaced, and I got the new glasses, and I'm leaving, and I'm like, oh, where are the old glasses? They're like, oh, we just throw them out. I was like, what?
You bastards.
I was like, why would you
Yeah,
throw them
keep
out?
keep the frames.
I-
Yeah.
No, not the
I always
frames,
keep
the lenses.
or just the whole thing. Yeah.
I
Just
just
in
thought,
case you
like-
break those.
Well, no,
right?
I didn't. I made them use the same frames. I'm like such a cheap bastard. I'm like, no, they're the same. Just put them back in the same. So they've got all sorts of little pieces sticking out of this. They're like, I don't know if they're going to work. I'm like, they'll work. I said, or I'm 3D printing them. That's the next step is I'm 3D printing glasses. I am not. What? There are two giant ripoffs in the world. It's probably more. One of them is glasses. Eyewear is a freaking joke. These are little pieces of plastic that have been polished. And then they want $500 for them or $1,000 for them, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the other one is hearing aids, which are just a freaking joke as well, where they want $7,000 for something that doesn't work as well as an AirPod. An AirPod? What are they
Yeah,
called?
I mean,
AirPod?
AirPods. Listen, AirPods are surprisingly caught up to
Yeah.
hearing aids. The only real difference I see these days is just that AirPods, the battery doesn't last as long as a hearing aid does, right?
Yeah.
It's just a little bit different.
Yeah,
use
that's true.
case.
That's
And,
true. Yeah.
you know, and it's a little more clumsy. It's a bigger thing to be sticking in your ear all the time, like an AirPod, right? Versus a hearing aid.
I am waiting for the consumer version. I want a consumer version one that does everything I need it to do. The problem is that someone's saying like you go to Costco for $1,500. It's like, yeah, and the government will pay $1,000 towards that. Except that my hearing issues, which range from tinnitus to issues with different frequencies,
Right.
only the expensive, supposedly only the expensive hearing aids are the ones that fix them, and I can't wear them. They drive me freaking nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Listen, the new AirPods, like it'll do. You can couple it with a sound like hearing test app.
Yeah,
You have to
I've
use
done
a,
it.
You have to use a third party. Yeah, you've done it. Yeah, oh, it's amazing.
I love it. I use it. I could use the phone as a microphone. Like if I'm in a situation
Right.
in a restaurant and I'm having a difficult time hearing people, I'll just plunk the phone in the middle of the table and I'm great. I'm like, perfect, fantastic, and I can spy on people, which is even better. I'm just going to go to the bathroom now. Don't talk about me, and then you leave, and you're like, aha. Yeah,
Just leave the phone.
that's it. Exactly. So never leave me. What I'm saying is, Lance, don't let me walk away from the table. Don't let me do it.
Okay.
How are you doing, Lance? How are things with you?
I am absolutely fantastic.
Are you as chipper as
I
I
got
am
this-
today?
I might be not as animated, but definitely as chipper.
I'm just overcompensating for the dark sadness and loss that's in my heart. That's what I'm doing. Because my wife's left.
Well,
that's it. I'm on my own.
Yeah.
We know you're sliding across the hallway in your socks.
Dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
We know.
Yeah, that's so true. That's true. I'm really not, though.
No, you might
well-
break a hip.
It's true. My hips will not allow me to do that anymore. Says the guy who can't move.
Hey, I'm just being careful. That's all I'm doing.
Listen, Gimpy wants company, so as soon as
Yeah.
you break that hip, David,
I'll be
That's
there.
true.
I do think my hips are gonna go. I feel like they feel fragile to me. You know. Yeah, I feel like that's now. I might have a slight. I know something else about the McKay connection. Might be the hypochondria, possibly. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Now, Lance, are you streaming yet? Are you up and streaming yet?
We are making a video for those guys with streaming stuff.
He who shall not be named.
Right, but
Okay.
dude, I got the first video.
Yeah.
Like last night, and it was wonderful.
I saw your. I don't know if it was a Discord or something. I saw one of the many ways we communicate, or lack the ability to communicate. I saw you were excited. That's fantastic. That's great. Good. As it damn well should, frankly.
I look good. I mean, what movie magic is that?
I'm guessing that's either delusion or a lot of makeup.
No, other people say.
Really?
Many people.
Delusion.
Many people have said.
You gotta. That's that's
we need,
also.
We No, listen, you just nailed it. We need like an AI based video enhancer called Delusion.
Yeah. Oh my God, someone should totally create that. I'd sign up for that in a second. Well, you could just, it's an Instagram filter already though, I think, isn't it? Isn't that basically it? I see people, like, it's embarrassing. I see like my mother's friends posting pictures and
back in the old house,
and they have the filter on them. And I'm like, do you really believe that that's what you look like? Like, they look like kids, but they're, in their 70s. It's like, I feel like we are living in this kind of delusional state of filtering, Filtering, they're just lies. Like, you're just trying to make yourself look better than you are. And then wouldn't that just mean, like, I would rather my theory, which Jane loves, is that the worse I look in my everyday life, that I'm filmed in, the more impressed people will be when they meet me. People always meet me and they go, "Wow, you don't look half dead and hungover." And I'm like, "No, I don't," because that's what I look like all the time. In person, I can actually potentially look healthier than I do on camera. You see.
Tell me if I've beaten you in acting. I brought this. They filmed it in 6K.
Wow.
Which is 6K.
Yeah, talk to me when you're in 8. But yeah, that's cute. 6K. That's cute. That's cute. I'm glad you're no, you know what's funny is that I don't think I've ever been shot in 6K, but I've they've got the cameras that were sort of being standard, that are standard now. A lot of them are 8K, but they'll often not. So I guess they'll record it at 8K, but they're never using more than, I don't know, 2 or 4 or whatever
they re-render it, because then you can crop. You can crop
whatever you want. Yeah.
Well, that's the dream is, and I remember this even with my own pathetic directing, was like scenes where I was like, it's great, we'll just take a wide shot, and then I could just like punch in for the close. It never looks right. It never looks right because there's a little parallax issue. You know what I mean? It doesn't look the same wide. It doesn't look the same when you close up on someone as the wide, if you just pull it out of a wide shot. It just doesn't have the same. It's so weird. The camera is still like some kind of a magical eye that may or may not do what you want it to do, and often surprises you. Like Lance has just said with his recent stuff.
Yeah, that was looking good. They had they made like railroad tracks in my computer room.
Oh yeah,
and
dolly tracks.
And yeah. And it's got these skateboard wheels on it, kind of.
Yeah.
And then they go, "Okay, say this," and they come in. I did it like, I don't know, 20 times.
And that's in a documentary.
So, well, dude. Okay.
We got to be careful. Don't give too much away.
I'm just saying the thing.
I'm getting nervous. I can feel my NDA is showing. Yeah.
It was just so exciting. It was so exciting.
I cannot wait for people to see it.
Listen, just spill the tea. He's in the next Stargate. Just.
I wish.
Right?
Don't even see. You got to be so careful because you say something like that. Next thing you know, it'll be all over Twitter. You know what I mean? Elon Musk will be like, hey, apparently
Gimpy is in the next Stargate.
That's it.
All right.
That's it.
Cool.
Dude, if there's another Stargate and I'm in it, Gimpy's in it. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
even if he just gets, if someone just like shoves him through a Stargate or something, you know what I mean? I just feel like it's gotta happen.
Floating in space. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that's it.
Why is this? I'm just picturing this chair just rolling down the ramp.
Yeah. Lance, you can be my Fumbles McStupid.
He's gone through the gate, and the chair is just like kind of whips around and rolls back.
It was just announced David will be in the next Star Trek Gate Wars. Thank you, Xavier. See, there you go. This is why I love you all so much. Bravo, Isani. Bravo, Isani.
Oh, by the way, hey, happy lap around the sun.
Oh God, so old. I'm old. I'm grumpy, and I love every second.
Oh no, I was talking to Cal.
Oh, Cal. Oh yeah. Cal.
Yeah.
It's always Cal's birthday here, because that's what she loves. Hey, Vipup, how you doing? How you holding up?
Yeah, buddy.
I'm actually doing pretty good. I just realized I had my mic muted.
Oh really? Oh, because I wondered. I hadn't heard you the entire time. I just assumed we were talking over you.
I was gonna quickly pop in, but I stopped.
I was gonna pop in and say hi. I decided not to. So what's up? Give us a quick rundown of life. Life, school, learning. What do you got?
Scary science test tomorrow.
Ooh.
Okay.
On what? What's the topic?
Cell.
What is it?
Cells and stuff.
Oh, cells and stuff.
Okay, phew.
Dude,
Yes,
that's
like,
awesome.
We need to identify the plant cell and the animal cell.
That isn't that hard, is it? They're pretty different.
And then you have to explain the differences,
Chlorophyll.
explain what everything means, label it.
Oh, God. And let me guess. It's a stupid little black and white drawing with little cartoon things inside it.
Yeah, I'm gonna think so.
Can I just apologize in advance for the stupidity of the fact that our educational system still hasn't updated their biology program enough to include a freaking video? It drives me nuts. In what world does a cell stop, freeze, and go flat and label all of its parts? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
am I being an idiot? Like, Lance,
No.
you've done this teaching
That's fair.
stuff.
No, dude, you can make it way more fun
Yes.
if you had bits and pieces and then, like, say, a roundish jello mold that you push the pieces into the correct space. And
Oh, really?
yeah, I
Oh,
guess
that's
you can label
cool.
them then.
Oh, that's
Right.
neat. You get to like put your hand into a jello and insert the
Right.
nucleus. Elizabeth
Right.
Lizette says that the kids there are using modeling. That's nice. We're not. I mean, like, it's something that it's not being used by the not younger, sorry, Vipup, but the middle. Like, we don't get into the cool stuff until you're in like grade 11 and 12 around here. Baz is still looking at freaking textbooks with drawings in it. Like, it just seems insane to me.
Well, this is. I found a YouTube place called Teacher Therapy, where teachers can go to speak without fear of retribution.
Huh.
And this lady teaches that the problem is you can't beat them anymore.
There's the problem.
And so
You can no longer
that's-
strike the children. Hey, you want to hear the best first-time chat? Get this. This is from Timon. It says, "Hey, David Hewlett and chat. All you beautiful souls are sparks that bring meaning to the universe." That is a way to
Wow.
introduce yourself to a room, isn't it? Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome with your damn positivity. I skipped biology in
I
high
feel-
school. Yeah, me too.
Doesn't it feel like too much responsibility? I don't know.
In Ontario, I dissected things in grade 10. Yeah, we didn't. There was some
Oh, we did
dissection stuff I
Baby
didn't get.
pigs.
Yeah, there is definitely elements of that in certain. I'd have to check with Baz. I am amazed at how little hands-on stuff they're doing. And I don't know whether that's a new thing or whether that's this school specifically or what the deal is. But it's, yeah. We watch Bill Nye all the time. You know what the scary thing is, Fatal Lysol? They're still watching him. Hey, Vibe Pup,
my.
do they ever show you videos by Bill Nye at school?
Yeah, so a lot of the time.
See? Told you. That's how freaking antiquated we are. I mean, I love Bill Nye. He's great.
Man.
But come on. He's not even in HD.
No, he's like 3x4.
There are freaking amazing YouTubers out there to teach you about anything you could possibly want. Do you have a favorite
Thanks,
science?
Dennis.
Do you have a favorite science YouTuber, Vibe Pup? Anybody you like that you watch?
I actually watched Nile Red.
Nile. Oh, you've mentioned him
He's
before.
pretty
Nile
funny.
Red. Yeah.
He's the chemist kid.
And
He's
he
good.
likes to explode stuff.
Is he the one who works out of his dad's garage and then he got a lab and he went back to his dad's garage because he missed it?
That's Styropyro.
Oh, that's Styropyra? Okay. See, I can't keep track.
No, this kid's got a big lab, and he'll do things like, I'm going to change latex gloves into grape flavor.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah. All right, give me his name because I'm gonna put him in my list.
There's a Nile-
Nilered is how it's spelled, I think.
Nile Red YouTube. Got it.
There's a Nile Red, and then he has an alternate channel, Nile Blue.
Oh yeah, I have seen them.
Yeah.
All right, and then
One of my
there is Nile
favorite-
Blue as well. Jesus, look at that! Wow.
There's a guy named Joe Scott. I like him a lot.
The Great Scott guy.
I've never heard him say Great Scott.
Oh, okay.
What do you think?
There was
Different guy.
someone called Great Scott that does some cool stuff
Yeah.
too. A
Great
comedy
Scott- Great Scott
channel.
does electronic stuff.
Yes, which I loved. Oh, is this the one? Sorry, Joe Scott. Is this the Ask Questions, Get Interesting, Amazing, Funny, Inspiring, Eye-Opening something? Is he a
Maybe.
Answers with Joe?
I don't know. It just said Joe Scott when I go to it.
Oh, well, no, it is Joe Scott.
on
but-
YouTube.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've got him. I like him already because he's got the alien from Land of the Lost as one of his video
Oh, a
thumbnails.
Sleestack?
Sleestack. Yeah. Remember that? God, I love that
Nice.
show. And then I hated what that
Love it.
freaking Will Ferrell film did.
I always hate when they mock the source
They
material.
ruined it. Ruined it. Anyways, Vibe Pup. So big test tomorrow. My suggestion would be just go onto YouTube and look at a bunch of videos on all the parts of the plants of the cells and things.
Oh, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful, David. The YouTube video might have better, more detailed contents than the short list of parts that are going to be on his test.
Well, exactly,
I
but
actually have more than 1,000 words worth of notes.
do you really?
Yeah.
Are you a note taker? Do you take notes and stuff?
No,
Oh,
not at all.
Where
They made us take notes, so
but I'll tell you, note taking is a skill. It's a skill, definitely, because most people just write down what people say, and the only way I ever found them useful was when I wrote down what I understood about what they said. It's the only time it was any useful to me. When I just
that
wrote,
would save a lot of time.
you know, exactly. It was just I didn't write anything down. I wrote nothing ever. No, I never did it in school. I was useless in school. But nowadays, because of my rapidly approaching decrepitude, I need to write stuff down. So I end up. It takes me forever to read everything because I have to read it over and over again and then write notes. But it's the note stuff is I find very. It's a skill that I would love to be better at. Well, that's great. Well, so should you be studying now, VibePub? What's the deal? How do you prep for a test like this?
He has no idea.
I put him to sleep. That's what I generally do. Or he's muted himself.
I will ask him though, what time of day is your test? If you come back around, Bud.
Yeah. What time of day is your test? All right, that's a good question.
Yes, that would be one.
In the
Because
meantime,
mornings are good.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say. In the meantime, Malvitano, what's up with you? I feel like it's been forever. It has been forever. Oh, we lost him too. We lost everybody.
Oh no, I'm here.
Ah.
Sorry, I was muted. What's up with me? I don't know. I'm just doing the working.
Is there?
No, you got a really sweet work computer too, though, David. Ask him. Go ahead. Ask him.
Oh great, here we go.
What's the sweet computer?
No, well, I needed to do some testing on an AMD system. I'm always testing SSD stuff, right?
Yeah,
I needed to build,
right.
I needed to test SSD stuff, but on an AMD system to see, what the speed looks like there, right?
So you had to get an AMD system.
Yeah, so I'm putting together a 7950X3D AMD system, which is like their top. Yeah, it's their top end CPU. So a little bit exciting over here.
Ooh,
Get to
that's
have a little
kinda
bit of
fun.
fun playing around with toys.
How do they weigh up compared to the NVIDIA?
Intel stuff?
Yeah.
No, we're talking AMD. I'm talking CPUs.
Oh, you're talking about
not
CPU.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yes. All right. Okay.
Yep.
How are they stacking up? I still always seem to get steered towards the Intel is slightly faster.
And that's pretty much seems to still be the case. I mean, I'll know more once I do some of this testing, but generally speaking, AMD tends to be better about, not the same fast straight line speed as Intel. In other words, if you're doing one task, and that one task will be able to go, slightly faster on Intel usually. Right?
I see. But if you've got the multi-core thing going, the AMDs are better for that?
If you're doing either a multi-core thing or if you're doing a thing which could be a single task that requires multiple cores, right? Like video rendering, something like that, right? So it's sort of
for like my Adobe stuff. Well, Adobe was always very far behind with getting caught up to the hardware, wasn't it? It was always like, it runs great on those old computers.
Yeah, Adobe. I mean,
I wish I could.
To some extent, that's true. Yeah.
I wish I could quit Adobe. I wish I could just come up with a purely open source version of all that stuff. I mean, I feel like because it drives me nuts the amount of money I spend on that on that subscription just to use a bunch of
Well,
things. You know, I mean, I love
just-
Photoshop. I use it all the time. I really enjoy, what's it called, After Effects and Premiere Pro and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, to
thank
some
you,
extent,
El
you know,
Ferranzo.
there's a learning curve, and there's other aspects, like, you know, even if there was something that was open source that was, say, just as good, right? Well, you know, what's the trade-off there? Is it worth relearning the entire thing?
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
that's it. I think it's partially that. It's just support, right? I mean, the advantage of Adobe is that it's so ubiquitous in the industry now that it's like everyone knows what you're talking about. When you get into the other stuff, like even DaVinci Resolve, which is really pushing to become the de facto editing software, it's like unless the industry picks it up, it's almost, you know. I mean, I say that. I guess it doesn't. I guess it depends what you're using it for. But I just like the idea. I love the idea of everything being open source and like oh my God, what they could do with Blender now is freaking insane. Blender is beautiful. Blender, Unreal Engine, you have almost everything you need right there. It's amazing. So what laptop should I buy, Malventano? If I was to get a laptop, if I was forcing myself to, where would you go? 3050s or where are we at?
But do you really want to throw a couple of grand at a laptop?
Well, no, but otherwise you're spending a couple of grand on parts anyways. What do you get that's like? It's hard to get anything cheaper than that. Like the GPUs alone cost $2,000.
I'm with you. Okay, so yeah, I heard you battling with the idea of the desktop versus laptop thing earlier, right? The gist of the desktop versus laptop thing is, for a given amount of money, you will usually get way more bang for the buck out of the desktop. Right. So if you're that worried about the performance, right, performance for the money, the desktop is the better way to go, obviously, right?
Right.
You know, because you're paying for the mobility, right? Mobility costs extra money. For it to be that much more compact, squeeze into a little tiny space that you're then going to spill coffee on and break, you know, right? Like, yeah.
Damn, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, and again, that thing I just mentioned, that is another disadvantage, right? It's all one unit. It's not a thing where, oh, I spilled something on my keyboard.
Yeah.
I'll just throw that keyboard away and swap it, right? It doesn't fry your entire computer.
Yeah, that's a good point. I just feel like but you're getting a monitor as well. You know what I mean? Like I keep throwing that in there as well.
But that's a pro and a con, right? Because you're limited to the size of the monitor, right? You don't get to, you know, oh, I need to do a bunch of video editing. Let me use this really big monitor.
Yeah, but I could just plug it in the back. Well, I could until my Asus stopped. The HDMI
until you spill something on the HDMI port. Yes, exactly. See my point, right? Like, you know, it's the whole interchangeable, you know.
So you're saying for my special needs, I should have a desktop?
For your special
no, not just that, but like, I mean, you are, you know, you're somewhat budget conscious about this, right?
Somewhat.
Like
freaking broke.
You know, yeah, like, well, I mean, if you're bringing up the cost as a concern, then probably, you know, the trade-off you might consider then is, okay, well, I don't get to just sit this on my lap on the couch, but I paid way less for this thing in the basement that, you know, breathes fire.
So,
right?
Okay, so the thing in the basement that breathes fire. Well, sorry, Lance, you wanted to jump in with something.
I did. I don't know if you remember this, David, but our grandparents in the 70s used to cover all the furniture in plastic.
That's what I should
do.
Can
you do that?
Yeah, that's what I should do.
Like your laptop?
Totally do that. I should really be wearing a hazmat suit in case I pour it on myself as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's true. I had plastic covers on a bunch of laptops way back in the day. I used to have the, you know, those covers for the keyboards and stuff. But yeah, I was just frustrated because it wasn't a lot of fluid. It really wasn't. Like you can look in, you could see where these like little flecks of fluid have stuck to the inside. It must have been sticky of some sort. I don't understand why. But I was just surprised at how, like, first off, how wide open the back of that Asus is. Obviously, it needs it's got to breathe out. It had like a 2070 or something in it. So it had to breathe out a lot of heat. But that unfortunately means it's a lot open for when, you know, for splashing stuff into it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that was definitely frustrating. But so, okay, but then, all right. So what do I mean, and this is something that I've asked Lord Chunky about this as well. So we'll get him to weigh in at some point. But what do you need now to run? Like if I'm to do Unreal and Blender and all these kind of things, I feel like the more memory, the better. Like I feel like I should get 32 gigs. And I
if you want to
feel-
run, yeah, if you want to do actual rendering, right? In particular Blender, right? Now you start to worry about CPU cores. You know, it's somewhat GPU accelerated, but I think it still leans pretty heavy on the CPU.
On the CPU, okay, right.
Right.
So that AMD then sounds like a good option then.
Well, in the mid-range, they tend to basically be 6 in one, half a dozen in the other.
Okay, all right, good to know,
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you might get a couple. You know, you might get 10% more cores for a given amount of money in the mid-range for the AMD part, right? You get you know, they'll brute force it by throwing a little bit more cache at it, not cache money, but like cache memory, right? On the CPU, or they might have a couple more cores at a given price point, right? But the trade-off is that yeah, the Intel will have a little bit fewer cores, but those cores will run faster. So it effectively makes up for it, you know, within reason.
Let me see what I've got now.
Yeah, that's a good starting off point. Is like, see what you've got now.
I wrote a list down somewhere. Oh, I know where I wrote a list down. I wrote it on my.
You could potentially.
I took notes.
Make a few. Because the other thing that you mentioned earlier was, hey, you want your streaming system to be separate.
Well, and that was part of it. That's why I'm sort of reticent about ripping this thing to pieces, because I'm like, well, you know, I want an experiment. I want the Gimpy G experimental special, and then I want you know.
Well, here's the thing. So could you couple what you have assembled as your streaming system right there, which the one in the office, the one in the basement, right? Could you couple that set of parts with any of your older parts that you say you upgraded from?
Absolutely. Yeah. I've got a whole other. I've got what I call it the Stormtrooper. I've got a whole white case and power supply. I could probably throw all of that, everything I need in there. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So what I'm saying is, could you you have another set of parts to have, you know, the startings of a second system, right? And then you could figure out, okay, of the stuff I have in the streaming system right now that's running, you know, there's going to be some things that are pretty decent, and then some things that are more dated, right? So then you take the more dated stuff and you relegate that to just the dedicated streaming setup.
Yeah.
Right. And then you take the better, you know, the best of whatever your set of parts there is, and you build that into your gaming rig, right? And then you'll end up with some holes that you need to fill, right? Like, okay, I need a better GPU and potentially a better CPU and maybe a motherboard.
Yeah, right? I mean, I wondered, like, should I just throw a new should I spend all my money on a GPU and shove it in this thing?
Well, if you're only trying to do Blender, though, the CPU might be a little underpowered right now.
So I've got the other thing I'm missing, which drives me freaking crazy, is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Neither of which are available on this motherboard, which drives me nuts.
But that's an easy. You buy a $10 thing on Amazon and plug it in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have Wi-Fi ones for sure. Here's the other problem: USB ports. I'm like done on USB. I am like maxed out all the time on USB ports on this.
You get a hub, David. They make a hub.
Yeah, but the hubs never freaking work for me. They're always kludgy. They're always like, oh, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like, it's the USB on this thing is very weird.
Listen, you got to stop spilling coffee in them.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, no, the hub thing, seriously, I've had so many issues with the hub stuff. I find it, if you want a system that works beautifully, in my experience now, I plug one thing into every USB port. That's it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Beyond that, I find it just becomes. I have one hub attached to this, and everything else is maxed out.
So in defense of that point that you're making, I would say that if you did end up upgrading your motherboard as a part of this whole, you know, rearrangement of stuff, right? The newer motherboard would likely have more USB on it.
And I even wondered about buying a USB card, like a PCI USB card that I could shove in there and have like an extra bunch of, you know.
You can. Now you end up in this quasi space of like, if you go too cheap on that, then maybe those USB ports end up with the same issues as you had with the hubs, right?
Really? Yeah.
It's a compatibility thing. Like your best bet is to have the native onboard USB built in.
So when I look at a motherboard, I should look at ones that have like maxed out ports, basically.
I mean, yeah, and you don't have to go too spendy to get the ones that have more ports, right? The mid-range motherboards tend to have a decent amount of ports on them these days.
I've got a nice motherboard. Like the one that I've got right now I looked it up the
so
other
what's
day.
your-
I've
what
got
do you got?
I got an Asus X99. So that is a
That is okay. So that is high-end desktop. However, comma, that is high-end desktop from 5 years ago.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. At least.
But what's
Yeah.
weird is like online, they're still going. You can still buy these motherboards for like a couple $100.
Yeah, they're still spendy because the type of CPU that goes in them was basically a server CPU.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you about
So-
the CPU then. What have I got in there?
Yeah, what CPU is it?
The Haswell E6 core.
Yeah.
i7 5930.
5930. Okay. So that's on the earlier end of the X99. So that's,
Is it worth updating the CPU but not the motherboard? Probably not.
I mean, okay. You can put a faster X series CPU in there. You can make that system go faster with just a CPU. That is a true statement, right? The catch is that you're so far dated, even for the faster version, that you could go 1 or 2 generations ago on, actually like a 9700K or like a 11900K, and 11th gen is like 2 generations ago already. So you could go to, the thing that system you have there was in its day super fast because it was server parts that sold for consumer, right? But the regular consumer stuff has advanced so far since then that even the 1 or 2 generation old stuff right now would run circles around the fastest version of a CPU that you could put on an X99 board.
And what gen are they at now? They 12, 13? What are they? What generation are they?
13.
13.
Is it 13?
13.
What do you run in there?
I have a 12900K, so I'm on 12th gen. I don't, from 12 to 13 isn't that big of a jump. So it's not that necessary to upgrade right away.
And Lance, what are you running?
Well, I mean, that does it really matter? I mean, does it?
Come on, I literally set you up to flex, and now you're getting all like, oh no, humble brag. Come on.
Here's your chance.
Okay, it's everything top of the line. It's the 4090, the 13900K.
What's the 13900K? What's that?
That's the CPU.
13900K.
Intel.
That is a $789 CPU.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. I've got the MSI Gaming Trio 4090. So it's not the Founders 4090. It's actually a jump up on the 4090.
What is the 4090 you've got? Which 4090 do you have?
It's called the MSI Gaming Trio.
Oh, yes. Okay.
David, you don't need a 4090.
Is it about what you need?
Well,
yes.
I mean,
no, I can't afford it. There's no way. Like, it's like they're like, what does it cost for that? What is that? MS Gaming Trio. It's $2,100 in Canada.
Yeah. So Lance
that's
has
the laptop right there. That's
so
that's it.
Right. So I have a 12900K and a 3090. So I had, as of like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Like top of the line from then, right? And I'm good with that. So I don't need to, throw a bunch more money at it just to be on 1 generation newer, right?
Yeah, Lance.
No, I mean, but Lance had a reason to build a new system.
No, that's true.
His turned into a ball of fire.
So maybe you're saying I should just burn my house down. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
That's the way to go.
I mean, I guess that's one way to do it. Yeah.
Damn, I got to work on the sympathy thing. I just like, God.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so, point being, David, you're still doing that principle. It's just that you're stretching it a little far.
Yeah, I don't need a 4090. Absolutely don't need a 4090.
Well, no, what I'm saying is your X99 system was very fast when you got it, right? It's been a long time.
And I'm amazed. It is still a zippy little beast. Like I'm surprised at it. And the I should tell you the GPU I'm amazed at is the 980 Ti is fantastic. But
I will say the jump from 11th to 12th was pretty decent. The jump from I kind of did what you are doing, except I had X299, so I had like the one after you.
Right. Okay.
That was like the server stuff, right?
Right.
And for the longest time, I used that.
So what is the modern day version of the X99 that I've got?
So Intel gapped that entire thing for a while, for a couple of years. They basically, in other words, they didn't do a successor to X299.
Oh, okay, right.
So when they released the most recent X299 systems were running on the 10th gen CPUs, right? So they had 10th gen regular systems, and then they had 10th gen that ran on X299, which was the server stuff, right? And then Intel stopped there and no longer forked the server stuff that same way anymore for workstation systems. So then 11th gen came out and it was only regular consumer stuff. And then 12th came out and 13th came out. So you had like this 3 cycles of you can't do the server thing for workstation anymore because they just don't make it, right?
Okay.
They just started now again. Where
Is
you
it
can
worth
take
it?
the server. Well, it's very pricey.
Yeah, then no.
I mean,
it sounds to me like the consumer 11th or gen, like if I could do like a, what did you say, 13th gen is out now?
13th gen is out now. You could probably go back a gen to 12th because they're still selling them.
Yeah.
I will say this. So I was on X299, which was already decently faster platform than what you have there at the time. And I thought I was golden, right? I kept just letting, 11th came out. I'm like, whatever. 12th came out.
Right.
I was just kind of like, I've got my server stuff, right? When I built that 12th gen system and went from the what I thought was fire breathing server system that was on 10th gen, I didn't even reinstall Windows. I did the thing where I just left the same SSD, all the same stuff in the system, right? When that thing booted up the first time, I was beside myself. It was like,
I am standing here beside myself. Well, because it was just so wickedly
I really was,
fast.
because it was like things were launching so much faster than on the last one that, usually the trap people fall into is they'll do an upgrade on their system and they'll reinstall everything. And then of course it's faster because everything's running, it's a brand new installation, right? It's always snappy, right? But I intentionally kept my old installation just so I can kind of gauge, okay.
Oh my God, I'd love to do that. I'd love to just grab this and shove it in a new system and see how fast it goes.
Yeah, and I'm sure if you went to like a special, oh good lord, from an X99 on a 5000 series CPU all the way up to like a 12th gen, yeah, that would be.
And what is the jump from 12th to 13th? What are the advantages you're getting from that?
That's very minimal. It's basically they added a few more cores to the CPU, and the few more that they added were not even the fast ones, because the new CPUs have both fast and slow cores on them. The idea is that if you're running something that needs a bunch of cores, then it'll use the more power efficient ones, right? Or if you're playing a game, then your Discord and your streaming and all your other stuff will be shifted off to the slower cores because they don't need to go full speed.
Right. That's smart. So it's intelligent enough to figure that out.
Yes, there's some intelligence in there that moves stuff around, right? That started with 12th gen.
Okay.
What about DDR5 RAM?
Does that make a huge difference?
So that's the other thing. The DDR5 is what you get from moving from 12th to 13th. It does help in some places, but is it enough to justify the extra cost of needing to go to an even newer motherboard, because you require a different motherboard, right? So you're in this window here where people are just sort of moving off of the DDR4 and onto the DDR5 in order to go from the 12th to the 13th gen. So you could potentially get some pretty good deals on the 12th gen stuff and still be within a few percent of the performance of the newest.
Well, because that's the thing is, I'm not, like, first off, I'm not doing any crazy gaming or anything. I just want it to be able to, look, there's a part of me that goes, you know what? I don't need the fastest of everything. I just need a good, reliable, zippy little system, if that makes sense.
You want decent performance and the most bang for the buck.
Yeah,
right?
Basically. Yeah. I mean, that's why I talked to Lord Chunky, because he's great at that stuff. Our old TechBandit friend, because he's fantastic at getting figuring out the budget stuff. But then, of course, I always end up talking myself up because I'm like, okay, well, you know, like what does a motherboard cost now? So it's like a 12th gen motherboard. I'm looking here. They're like, so you're looking at like, I don't know, $200.
Could you look up mine, David?
Yeah.
It's MSI.
I hate you already, just so you know.
Z790.
MSI
Z790.
790.
Tomahawk Wi-Fi.
Tomahawk Wi-Fi. DDR5.
DDR5.
Yeah, it's DDR5.
No, that's not bad.
It's probably like
364.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, I feel like I should get that. And you like that?
I've only been doing certain unmentionable things on it. So,
oh, right, of course.
Yes,
of course.
I like it a lot.
How many? They don't have a lot of PCI ports anymore.
No.
Oh my God, that's got 2 ports.
David,
ports.
You're coming from an X99 system, which was meant for server, so it had a bunch of lanes to route to a bunch of ports.
This has looks like 2 full ports and 1. Was it 10? Whatever it's called. Interesting. Okay, but that's DDR4. That's not DDR5.
So that's another reason why it's probably good if you needed a streaming setup, which you might need some extra slots to support the video capture and the other stuff you might do, right?
I like your thinking. Yes.
So that's what you would do with the X99 system that you currently have. You would keep that motherboard for that purpose.
Right? That would be my streaming. So I'd keep that for the streaming.
Yeah, because that's your Swiss Army knife. You can plug all sorts of stuff into that thing, right?
Because it's got the ports. Yeah. I mean, is it called ports? No, they're called the buses. The bus?
PCI slots.
PCI. Okay, right.
Yeah. Right. But the newer one, it's really meant for, graphics card, maybe one extra card. Most of the other stuff you're going to need is built in.
Do we no longer need cards for streaming? Is there no longer an advantage of having a capture card or one of these? I don't even use it anymore, but the Avro Medias, that kind of stuff?
They've moved to USB.
They're all just USB?
Yeah. Because
the USB is fast enough now that that's all
it's gotten good enough that you can make a USB capture it'll go full speed.
And does that help at all? Is that not really?
I mean, it just helps with not having to have a bunch of cards plugged in.
Oh, I see. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Hey, David, remember the old computers when we had to have a video card, a 3D accelerator card, and a sound card, all in one?
Yep. I remember doing it. I remember building them and trying to figure out the interrupts, and then one wouldn't work with the other, and then oh my God, it was a freaking nightmare. We were so old, and you used to have cards to plug in your hard drives as well, right? The hard drives had their own
ISA cards.
ISA cards. Is that what it was? ISA, yeah. Or ID what? No, IDE.
Well, it was ISA for IDE. You'd have an ISA card to plug into your IDE hard
drive. That's it. Yeah. I remember that though. Back in the old the bad old days when this is by the way, this is why Vipup is not talking, because we're like a bunch of old men talking about back in the days. I used to use an abacus. Yeah.
So that's the question to answer is like if you wanted to do 13th gen instead of 12th, right? I think the prices of the DDR5 memory are starting to come down reasonably. Like it's not so new that newer memory is much more expensive.
Well,
than the older stuff.
That's my other frustration is I go like, is there like I always was my theory on the buying my theory on the computers was always you buy as much as you can afford because it'll last longer, basically. But recently,
and that's true.
I've been buying cheap laptops because I'm tossing them away like freaking candy. Yeah.
I mean, and that's the one of the other pros to doing the desktop thing in general is like the whole thing doesn't get tossed, right? Like if the graphics is not good enough in the laptop, well, there's just nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Other than if it happens on the desktop, you just go, okay, spray a little Deoxent.
I'll just spray a little Deoxent and then I'll speed that sucker up right away.
Speed it right up. Yeah. You wax the cable modem so it goes fast.
I got a blockage. I got a blockage. I'll just get rid of it with a bit of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spray a bit of it myself for that matter, but
Yeah. So,
I really hope you stream that.
What, me spraying the laptop?
Well, getting on your best Doc Brown gear. Your goggles that you have.
Yeah, I got goggles. Where are my goggles? Yeah.
Opening that sucker up. figure it out.
Instead of-
And then if it worked, oh my God.
Oh
it would
my
be the
God,
best
it'd
show
be-
ever.
it's true, genius.
Instead of the lab coat, he could just put on his his jacket from C.
I've got my hacks. I got my hacksmith. I got my hacksmith lab coat. I wear it.
Ooh.
I wear it around town now. Like I put like a little jacket underneath it, and I wear it like a coat. I feel very Doctor Who like in it. It's great. I love it. My wife won't walk with me while I'm wearing it, but she's not here, so what does it matter?
Right.
We should talk some science crap. I've got a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch of
Let's
things that
do.
came up this week that I have promised to talk about, and of course now I've failed to deliver.
Hey, they just blew up the SpaceX rocket.
I know.
Oh,
God damn it, those poor. Oh, I feel so bad. Not for.
Well, no,
Elon,
I mean, listen,
God,
anything after that thing leaving the pad was a bonus.
I guess. I don't know. It just seems like such a. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like we're still
with you.
hurling ourselves into space on freaking burning fuel. Like I feel like there's got to be a better way of doing this.
Listen, it's McKay. You're supposed to invent that teleportation.
I
thing.
know.
mean,
I know.
freaking get
But
on
we
it,
need, We
right?
need some stations, man. We need some space stations. We need some I know the space elevator will never work, but I still love that idea. It's just the simplicity of just we'll just attach a cable to up there and we'll just climb up. It's like Jack and the Beanstalk of science. Okay, what have we got? Epic Games Unreal for Fortnite. Yeah, this is crazy. They have a whole, they have a fund. Unreal has a fund for initiatives. Hey, is that Fluffy the cat?
Yes.
You're perfect timing because I'm just about to start talking about all the email of awesomeness, and I've started with Unreal Engine and Fortnite, and they've got money for projects that relate to this. So you can ask them for money to create projects that involve my pitch to them now would be something along the lines of, I want to learn how to use the tools, and I want to do that. I want other children like myself to do that as well. And also I want to use them for filmmaking tools as well. I think we should make a game in Unreal for Fortnite and then make a trailer for that game in Unreal for Fortnite. Would that be cool? So you're selling the game you create. Come on, shoot that one down, Fluffy the cat. What do you got?
Nothing.
Nothing at
Yes,
all.
nothing.
But wouldn't it be cool to create your own game using all the Fortnite assets? I just think that'd be really great. You could use the freaking
A skating game, for instance.
well, what about all the Stranger Things? Was that stuff in there? They had the Demigorgon and stuff. Could you use those?
That's skin, but that thing's not coming back.
They don't have, and that's not in the assets, I guess. Well, you make your own then. Even better. Create your own little Demigorgon. But yeah, so all of their stuff is available. So I don't know. I feel like there's a learning thing here. And Lance, I think I mentioned this. Did I mention this to you? I can't remember. About the idea of doing some escape room stuff with it. Wouldn't it be cool to you could get a bunch of students together, go to a bunch of escape rooms, check out escape rooms, do some escape rooms, learn all about how they work and how to solve them and all that kind of stuff, and then take that knowledge and apply it to Unreal Engine development. I just think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Fluffy Cat, you might want to mute when you're not talking, just because just for the privacy of, for privacy.
What are the system requirements on that?
On
David?
what? Unreal?
Unreal.
20
that
series.
thing, Fortnite
20 series
Okay.
GPU.
video card.
Let me look it up. I'll look it up because I did look it up because that's one of the reasons why I started looking, because I was like, wait a second, if this Oxit stuff doesn't work, I don't think it's gonna work.
So it's Windows for sure.
Unreal.
You need a Windows computer.
Unreal, yes. Unreal Engine. Well, yeah. This is the frustrating thing. It does work on the Mac, but I think it worked on the old Intel Mac. I think actually I should try running. it on the old Intel. What was that?
Is it an Apple computer?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm thinking about getting a PC again now because
You can't play Fortnite on
you can play Fortnite on a Mac, but you can't do Unreal Engine for Fortnite on a Mac. It's only PC right now.
No, actually, Apple and Epic got in a legal battle, and
did they
Apple
dump it?
removed them. Yes.
No, seriously? I knew they'd had
Yeah,
that fight. I
true.
didn't realize that they'd actually got rid of it. Oh my god,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
insane. All right,
But but you can, if you did have an account, if you were playing Fortnite on an account there, then you won't get your account deleted. If you have an app.
So mine would still work.
Keep it. Yeah, but you would be stuck in the other season.
Oh, it did.
Yeah,
So they're not
you
updating.
can't update it. Yeah.
Man, because God, that sucks. Why
Apple's
can't people
playing
just?
hardball.
Why can't grown-ups just get along? Okay, so it says it needs a Windows 10 64-bit operating system. That I think I've got that even on this. Quad-core Intel or AMD. That doesn't seem much. 2.5 gigahertz or faster. 8 gigabytes of memory. DirectX or compatible graphics card, and a bunch of I don't know, RHI versions, whatever that means.
Yeah, I mean, wait a minute. This is a Fortnite game you're talking about, David?
Well, this is the recommended hardware for Unreal Engine 5. I'm guessing you probably want to bump it up a little bit because they're probably underplaying what's necessary. But still, that's not bad.
Well, sure, but it's for a Fortnite title in particular, right?
It's for Unreal Engine 5 basically.
You can use the Fortnite assets to make your own games.
And they have almost like a simpler version of Unreal Engine that accesses it through a Fortnite window, basically. So you're testing and developing stuff in Fortnite with this sort of Unreal Engine layover or whatever it's called.
Overlay.
Overlay, that's the word. Thank you. Senility. So you can get away with 8 gigabytes. I would go 16 anyways because I just can't imagine having less than 16 gigabytes on anything now. Quad-core Intel, so basically maybe I should just be running it on this thing. The problem I have is if I run it on this, I just don't want to screw up my streaming.
I mean, well, you want to try to stream while you're running that?
Well, I'd like to. I mean, I feel like, I should be able to. Or more importantly, I should be able to just turn my computer on and start streaming, which invariably, whenever I've got anything else running on this thing, it's like, oh, I'm going to update this now. And oh, that didn't work. And oh, we're down. The camera doesn't, there's always something. It's probably me. It's probably me and my own magnetic personality destroying the computers. But
I mean, there's some features of the newer, stuff newer than X99 that would make streaming much easier to do while you were doing something else without, getting in the way.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, you're right. They've got things that are designed to do exactly that, aren't they? Like
there's accelerated, streaming is accelerated on newer platforms, right? Especially the Intel CPUs that have the GPU built in. Even if you don't use that GPU as your actual GPU, even if you have like a 3070 or something, you can use the Intel QuickSync video to accelerate the streaming, so the streaming is being handled by a completely independent thing inside the same computer.
Okay, that's brilliant. Okay, so maybe that's the way to go then.
I mean, probably. But again, you don't have to get that new to get that feature, right? You don't necessarily need bleeding edge.
Well, and here's my question about that: is when I started looking at different graphics cards and different of that sort, they were expensive. The older ones were expensive. Like the 3070s were sometimes more expensive than the 40 series ones. Like, what's with that?
I mean, the 3070 versus 4070, actually, I think 3070, I think that for the 70 series, the 70 in particular, it's not like it used to be where the 4070 is that much faster than the 3070.
Really?
That's a weird, it's a weird thing that NVIDIA is doing with that. Like the 4090, that's all bets are off. That thing is a monster.
Right. But that's also powering you need a small substation to power it.
Yeah, don't underestimate the power of market supply and demand. If you see the 3070 as the same price as the 4070, there's a reason, and it's probably because the performance is similar.
All right, I'm looking.
You're getting some newer features with the 40 series, obviously, right? But the performance-wise, usually it's the performance that's the thing that determines the price.
All right. So, but 30. So, but in an ideal world right now, would you go to the 40 series if they're cheaper? I mean, is that like
if you were in the ballpark of a 4070 price point, versus a 3070, and they were both similar prices, then I'd probably just do the 40.
And the TI, does that make much of a difference, the TI?
Well, the TI is usually a little bit faster than the non-TI of a given number.
I think they add more VRAM to it.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, it's either more VRAM, more CUDA cores, or some combination of both.
So
for the TI part.
So the 4070 Ti right now with 12 gigabytes, that's $1,100.
Yeah, it's still pricey, man.
But that's a lot. That's cheaper than the look. If I look up 3070 now, you wait, just you wait. 3070.
It's gonna be
Ti.
Well, wait. Hold on a second, David. What graphics card is in that system right now?
The 980 Ti.
Okay.
All right, 3070, $949.
You're right, $200.
Or
Wow.
$824, or $1,200.
Depending on which one you get. Yeah.
I'm guessing there are more 40 series out there than there are 30 series. That's my guess.
I think the 980 is getting a little long in the tooth.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair to say.
Yep.
Well,
as am I.
Well,
Yeah.
sure, but that doesn't mean you need to throw either the GPU or you away.
But I'm happy to throw money at me.
Just he grinds his teeth, so he does not.
It's true.
Well,
yeah.
it's just how much money do you want to throw at it for how much bang do you need?
Exactly.
Right.
So
That's the question.
do I need a 4070 Ti for $1,100? Only if it's
what
not.
resolution? What resolution is your monitor there?
Well, that's the funny thing. Like, I've got a 2K monitor. I mean, that's it. I'm not.
Is it 1440p?
Well, it's a 4K 2K, if that makes sense. That's what they're calling it, but that could mean anything because this is an old monitor. I don't even know how to check. All right.
Right-click on the desktop and hit Properties, and it'll show you resolution.
I'm doing it now. Display settings? No. What doesn't?
Yeah, it's in display settings.
Just display settings. There you go. Display settings.
Yeah.
If I remember right, back in the day, they were using a checkerboard system to fake 4K.
Was that what they were
That's
doing?
how they were doing the
Yeah.
2K, 4K, yeah.
Its recommended resolution is 3840 by 2160.
No, that's 4K.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Then that's what it is.
Okay, so you got 4K.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know when I got that. I love this monitor. I got to say. I got another.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The other one is a cheaper one, which I don't really use that much.
Okay, so you've got 4K. The 40 series cards have some additional features, which will let you do this thing called. It's different forms of effectively what's one principle called super resolution, which is where the game internally is not running at as high of a resolution, but then the GPU has a different engine inside of it that can take the output from the game that's running at like 1080p, and then it can on the fly upscale it so that it looks as if it was set to 4K.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Right. So there's a few cons in there. Sometimes there's a little bit of artifacts or something that looks a little funky, but you really got to nitpick, right? But effectively, you can get the performance. The game will run as if it was running at the lower resolution, which makes it go much faster, right?
But it looks better in the process.
But it also looks better in the process. So you're almost getting a win-win, right? But here's the thing: people usually do that because they want the 4K and a high refresh rate, which that monitor might not even be higher than 60.
Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt it is.
Right?
I mean, this is an old monitor.
Yeah, But again, some of these games are so demanding that even for 4K and 60 might be hard to pull off.
Yeah.
Right. But either way, the 40 series card will have some additional, features to try to work around that. So meaning you can get away with a lower end card and still have a good experience.
Well,
right?
what are the series now? What numbers do they have in the series of the 40 series now? What are they've got a bunch of laptop ones. I know that.
Okay, so the laptop ones are a completely different animal.
Right.
Generally speaking, and again, this is, you got to fudge it either way depending on the exact numbers you use. But generally speaking, you can't compare a desktop 4080 to a laptop 4080.
No.
Right?
Okay.
It's the 4080, usually you go down one. So
really?
The laptop 4080 would usually be roughly equivalent to a desktop 4070.
Okay.
Sometimes it's more than that, sometimes it's less, but that's the gist right? That's the, sort of rule of thumb,
Right.
if you will, right? But also, sometimes it's a little worse because there's more variance in a laptop just based on laptops are going to be limited on how much power the GPU can use. So
Right.
sometimes you could have a laptop, two laptops both have 4080s in them. Again,
But they're not
that's
running
equivalent to
anywhere near the
4070.
same speeds.
Yeah, but like one of them might run it at 80, 80% of the speed of the other one because just one has more power and more cooling and all this other stuff, right? So, the desktop side alleviates some of those variables as well, because typically you have a better idea of what you're going to get, right?
This is so funny because I'm looking at the as you're saying this, I'm looking at the different models out there. There are just over $1,000 4070 Ti's out there, cards.
Okay.
Like that, which seems very reasonable to me. Like they're MSI too. Like that seems like a good. Is that not a good?
Yeah, MSI is decent.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, there's no EVGA anymore, so we can't. Everybody else is trying to step in.
Happened?
Oh, that's right. What happened to them? Did they just go bankrupt or something, or what was the deal?
No.
Oh, do you want the backstory?
What do you got?
You want the EVGA backstory?
You got some gossip?
EVGA for the longest time was basically just the standard. Like these guys have the best quality.
They were in everything.
These guys, not only that, but these guys have like the best return policies and like all this other stuff, right? Really, really good guys. NVIDIA progressively, like it took several generations for this to happen, but NVIDIA was basically pissing off their partners, meaning like MSI, Asus, anybody else that makes an NVIDIA GPU, right? NVIDIA was progressively aggravating these guys every time they came out with a new generation, because initially NVIDIA was letting all of their partners just do, here's the 10 series GPUs, okay, and everybody made their own cards, right? But then starting with what was it, the 30 series, NVIDIA started dipping their toe in making their own cards. They used to have cards
Are these the founders ones?
Now they're founders ones, but they had cards all along, but they were usually extremely low volume. They were meant just for reference, like here is the reference design,
and more expensive generally.
And they were usually more expensive, so they weren't really competing with all of these other partners, right? But then what happened by the time they got around to the 30 series is they were actually trying to compete. They were putting out their own product that was price competitive against the competitors. And at the same time, they were kind of gouging their competitors on what they were charging to buy the actual GPU.
It's like Apple becoming an Apple store all of a sudden. All those Apple stores that existed selling apples now were out of business because the Apple store was the place to go for all that stuff.
Well, it's kind of like that, except Apple was allowing you to make Apple clones, but they were charging you exorbitant prices for the Apple parts.
Oh, is that what it was?
Right? And at the same time,
no, but I just mean even just the stores. The stores there used to be stores that sold Apple computers. They were computer stores, and they were generally just specific to Apple.
Yeah, they still have Apple stores.
I know, but good luck. How do you compete?
I know.
They all just order straight from the Apple store.
Yeah. So anyway,
apparently they took the high bin GPU chips too.
Yes, right. So all that kind of shenanigans that NVIDIA kind of like kept doing more and like seeing how much more they can get away with, basically, right? And so it eventually got to the point where EVGA, right as the 40 series was about to launch, EVGA already had like reference designs, and they were like, it was going to be a thing. EVGA was going to do what they normally did for all the other ones, right? They finally just said, you know what, we're out.
And that's it. Stop making them.
And that was the end of it. They just stopped. They were like, nope, we're not playing that game anymore. We're just it's done. It's time to go. We're just not messing with that anymore, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, what's the point?
Direction.
You're never going to win that. So why? Yeah, might as well cut your losses while you can. What do they do instead now?
They had some other stuff going on. They made pretty decent power supplies. They made other stuff. I mean, the GPU thing was the bulk of what they were doing.
Well, it's also got to be pretty competitive now. Like by the looks of it, they're nickel and diming their profits at this point. I mean, they're such high end things, but are they marking them up much?
Well, EVGA was one of the companies that insisted on doing it right and not trying to cut every possible corner.
Right. I
Right.
see. Right.
So in essence, what looks like happened was EVGA had a standard that they refused to no longer meet, and
Right.
NVIDIA made all of those choices that put EVGA up against the wall, where the choice was either, we drop our standards or we just can't continue to do this.
Right.
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 And so they took the high road. I mean, good on them. It sucks for the rest of us because we don't get to buy EVGA stuff anymore. But
yeah, I think all of my stuff was EGA for years and years. It's all I ever bought.
Oh yeah, probably more than 90% of all of the graphics cards I ever bought were EVGA, and not only that, but I paid for it with that other 10% because those were the cards that like the fan would fail, or like the entire heatsink would like. I had one that the heatsink leaked the fluid out of, like, because that's how
Not an
the
EVGA
heat
one.
pipes. No, not an EVGA one. Yeah, it was any other company other than EVGA were the ones that I would get these weird issues, and the EVGA cards I would just beat the crap out of, and they would just laugh it off.
So what do you get now? Which ones do you like the most now?
I have an EVGA 3090, and I have not yet bought another GPU.
Oh really? Oh wow! So that was the last. Wow.
I won't, like, I haven't done it yet. I haven't. I mean, it would. And I know you disagree with this maybe because of your laptop experience, but like Asus seems to be like among the higher end of the remaining ones. MSI's decent too. Gimpy's got all the MSI. Gimpy's got the MSI
Asus
stuff.
is everything. Asus names is on freaking everything. Like I don't know. I just kind of I just think from a customer service standpoint, even like don't fix my laptop for more than I paid for it. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
But honestly, you get that anywhere, David. You really do.
These days.
I mean, no, really, like, especially if it's 3 years old, you're actually getting into the point where the parts get more expensive because they probably don't still make that model.
Yeah, no, I know. God damn it.
Right? So
back in David's day.
Back in my day, that's it.
Yeah, the doctor would come to your house and
they used to fix you right there. Okay, you know what I'm looking now? I'm looking at products. Yeah, all the 3070s are cheaper only with these names that I've never heard of, like Peloton, Zotac. I don't like the Zotacs. They seem cheap to me.
Zotac's one of those brands that I had one of the fans, I kid you not, literally fell off.
Yeah, they just seem way too cheap for me. Yeah, I mean, I've got to say this 4070 Ti at just over $1,000 seems like a swinging deal. I'm not doing it yet though, because first off, I've got to spray my laptop. Just spray the whole thing down, hose the whole thing down. No,
okay, so if you do,
I thought I'd spray the brush, spray the toothbrush, and then just. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, yes, just make absolutely sure it dries. So okay, most of the damage that occurs.
It's screwed anyways.
Most of the damage that occurs from liquid is that when the liquid hits the surface that has some charge on it, like it has voltages on it because it's running still, right? It's still got power, right? And then that causes galvanic corrosion. Like literally the voltage is the thing that causes it to corrode rapidly because you've got like sugars and conductive liquid around it, right?
Right.
So you got
There's some
the thing you have to be careful of.
There's some stairs near us that they built, brand new stairs, and within 2 years, there's these giant holes in it. It's exactly that. It's the salt and the water on the whatever it is that they made the.
It was galvanic. It was dissimilar metals.
Yeah. And there's like holes. Lovely. There's just it's just dug holes in them. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
So that happens only while their liquid is still wet.
Right.
So presumably after the thing doesn't work anymore, like the liquid all dries up, and now if it didn't break in the first place, it would actually still work then after everything dried out, right? But by re-wetting stuff, even with Deoxent, you got to be careful because make sure it's absolutely dry before you try to fire it back up, in case you missed a spot or something and there's still whatever it is that's conductive.
Well, I think this stuff dries pretty freaking quick, but yeah, I'd just leave it overnight anyways.
What color Deoxent is it?
It's this color, red and white and black. It's not the gold.
Oh, it's the different. It's the different two. Oh.
No, it's just the D5, D series.
Okay, I think that's the stuff that comes out red.
Oh, is it? Oh, I don't know. I haven't tried spraying it yet.
There's different. There's different colors. There's literally like red, blue, and gold liquid Deoxent.
Here we go.
Different. The red is the more general purpose one.
I think that's what I've got. Have you ever
Yeah,
used
if
this
it's
Lay
stuff?
it right on your hand.
I'll
I
just
use
yeah.
it. I use it on mostly. I use it on the charge ports of the Teslas. To clean
I
them up.
wonder. Yeah, it seems to be more of an automotive thing than anything else. So
Well, only because automotive is the place where you're more likely to need to clean contacts. for
right,
Stuff.
right.
Right.
Well, and
You
they're
know,
also
what
yeah.
is
You
it-
got the salt of the.
What are the chances you're going to taste it, David?
Probably pretty slim, I think, Lance.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Don't
so.
taste the Deoxent.
I mean, I'll taste it in that I'll smell it, but that's about it. That's all. I might huff a little bit of it
Oh.
just to see what it's.
I figured you just like put your hand up and get just a little tongue,
Well, nope,
just a little
nope.
taste.
Just not a thing for me. I don't not a big.
No?
I know people who taste a lot of things, and I am not one of them.
Yeah.
Hey, what about this? Okay, let's go back to this. Let's go back to science for a second.
Science.
Hot fungi horror. What about that?
What?
So yeah, get this. So here's the deal: The Last of Us hasn't happened because our bodies are too warm, right? The fungus get in there. It's like
Yeah,
You're like
It's got
crap.
to be 94 degrees, right?
Yeah, it sucks. It's not, especially me. I'm always running hot. So so basically, funguses haven't been an issue for us. So Last of Us is science fiction, except it's not, because of this whole global warming thing. Fungus, like everyone else, has got to get used to warmer temperatures, and it has. And now they found this fungus that's in people, and it's living in it. And the problem with fungus is we're not very well equipped at getting rid of it. So part of the problem is even just detecting it. Apparently, like 50% of the times they test people's blood, I guess, for this stuff, they don't find it, even though it's there. And it's actually, I mean, not killing people the way Last of Us does, but it's killing people, which is pretty kind of terrifying if you think about it. Yeah, I just thought that was it's worth looking at, because I don't think it doesn't sound like it's Last of Us crazy yet, but there is a potential that the next pandemic we have could be fungal related, which is just horrible.
So David's going to be chugging the Deoxent.
I'm going to be, then I'll be sucking back the deoxy for sure.
What's the difference between a fungus and a yeast?
I think a yeast is a fungus, is it not?
I don't know. That's what I was wondering.
I think. I mean, I'll double check. I will check with the interwebs, because they're always good to ask. Is yeast a fungus? I'm pretty sure it is. Yeasts are microscopic fungi consisting of solitary cells that reproduce by budding. Molds, in contrast, occur in long filaments known as hyphae, which grow by apical extension. Apical?
Whoa.
Apical? I don't know what that means.
I'm just going to call it a pickle.
I like
a pickle extension.
Like Rick-a-pickle. What is it? What is it? How do you say it?
I was joking.
Apical.
It's a pickle extension.
It is like an apical extension. Anyway, so I mean, one of the things I actually wanted to play with as soon as I read this, of course, was one of the things the Odin has been doing. The Odin being this sort of wonderful biohacking community. They've been taking toxic substances and putting fungi into it to see if the fungi will thrive in a toxic environment, and thus, I'm assuming, eat and destroy these toxic environments. Because there's a lot of these, there are mushrooms that will eat plastic and then bud into mushrooms that you could then eat. I'm not sure I would, but that in the future, potentially, we could, cast these spores far and wide. They will eat the plastic garbage for us and then create food, which would be wonderful, but not if they start living inside us. Then we're screwed. Basically, at the beginning of Last of Us, there's this whole speech by a fungus expert, which is quite a chilling moment in the series, where she explains. She basically says, "I just want to go home and die with my family because there's nothing that can stop this thing." Remember that?
I love that lady.
Oh my God, she was so good. So and the concept was basically like, look, we have been warning people about this for a long time. It's now happened, and so there's nothing we can do, type thing. I'm sure there is something
Nobody
we can
listens.
do. Yeah, well, never.
They
That's
never
it.
listen.
So I mean, yeah, Bill Gates called the freaking pandemic years ago. Like, was it 15 years ago or something? Anyways, so and now apparently he's just putting radio chips in all of us.
Yep.
Anyways, check out that link. Check it out. In fact, you know what? I'll put the link in here. Copy link address, and I'll post it into I'll make everybody involved in this, so everyone else can have nightmares like me. There you go. What the hell is that? That is the longest link I've ever seen. Is that the right link?
You might have to trim the extra stuff off of the right
comes.
side.
Oh, you know what? I think it's a mailer light trying to claim clicks and stuff. Okay, so there's that. What else have I got? Oh, touch and sniff octopi. Oh yeah, it just gets better.
Yeah, what's that all about?
What was that?
What's that one all about?
Oh,
Touch
very
and
good.
sniff.
Sorry, I didn't understand a word you were saying there for a second. All right, yeah. So this is kind of
My
neat.
bad.
This is kind of neat. So anytime I see like an octopus story, I'm like all over it because I just for some reason I'm a big octopus fan. When we were in New Zealand, where my wife is, when we were in New Zealand and Australia swimming around like little fish, I spent a good 3 or 4 hours in the water swimming around with an octopus, and it was the most incredibly. It was fantastic. I would go close, it would get purple and start doing this thing, and then I'd let it go, and it would go, and then it would come back to check me out, and I'd go and check it. It was just extraordinary experience.
Man, that sounds fun.
I haven't eaten octopus since. I can't do it.
What'd you call it? What'd you name him?
I don't have a name. I didn't have a name for him. Harold comes to mind for some reason, but I don't. Yeah, who knows? I don't even know if it was a female or a male. I don't know. Anyway, so these things are amazing. They can change colors. They can do all these amazing things. The other day, I did a epic email of awesomeness, and I talked about these pigments in squids and things and octopus that allow them to change color. This was kind of neat though because they've discovered that their legs or their tentacles aren't just feeling for things; they're chemical sensors as well. So they're basically like sniff tasting as they roam around. Right? Thank you, Libu. So they're literally crawling around with their nose mouths, and that's how they're finding stuff. And they went looking for the mechanism. What do they call them? What do we call? What's a good word for it? The sensors, receptors. They went looking for these little sensor receptor things. They figured, they'll be in the sucker somewhere, and they found them. And they're like, well, wait a second, they just look like the ones that detect neurotransmitter proteins and stuff in the brain again. And I'm like, aha! It's just like the other thing we found where the sea jellies, another past email of awesomeness, they found that these jellyfish had taken neurons, like our little brain neurons, not ours, but theirs, the equivalent of those things that could fire little synapses like that, and they turned them into spiked poisonous barbs. So literally, they adapted this type of neuron into a poisonous barb in the jellyfish. Well, it looks like octopus have done the same thing, or octopi have done the same thing by taking these receptors that normally detect neurotransmitters, and they've turned them into a way of detecting chemicals as they go scurrying around the bottom of the ocean, sucking back into. Isn't that neat? I just think we got to stop destroying the ocean because there's just all this cool stuff in there that we could learn so many things about.
Do we know what phylum like a cuttlefish falls into? I love cuttlefish for some reason.
Are cuttlefish part of the cephalopod things or cephalopods or whatever they're called?
I know they're wicked smart. They can do all kinds of things.
Yeah, they can change colors too.
They're quite a bit more aggressive than an octopus.
Are they? All right, another link for you. This is the one about the. Boy, that link is hilarious.
The touch and smell.
And then there's someone who's looking for a ZPM model or a type of lamp. Skylar, there is definitely a company, someone in the chat will, I'm sure, let you know. There's a great company that does some really neat prop stuff, and they have a great ZPM thing. The ocean is still mostly unexplored. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing is, we're blowing up freaking spaceships. Why don't we check out the ocean? I'm just saying. Throwing that in there.
Why not?
It's just not as sexy. You don't get to fire rockets and jet into the ocean. Okay, so there's that. And then this one, which sounds like a horror film, but is actually like a good thing. I had so much fun doing the AI art on this one. What I've discovered there are certain things I need to do to the art to make it work. Mostly cover up extra or missing fingers. Or add cuteness to eyes, because the eyes are sometimes just creepy as hell. so I try to sort of like animate them up with a big dark eyes and things. But the one, and then for some reason they did a mosquito without the mosquito biter. I wasn't sure what you'd call that. The little thing that sticks out the front of the nose and it actually stabs you. Proboscis. It was missing the proboscis. So I had to put that in. But don't you love, I just love the idea of a bar-coded mosquito. Anyways, the idea here is that in Brazil, they're about to launch this freaking factory that's gonna unleash like 5 billion mosquitoes into the wild. But but they've all been infected with this bacteria that stops them from spreading diseases. So it's just a bacteria.
Can we just kill them?
I know. I kind of.
That's never gonna backfire.
What could go wrong?
Yeah,
Malvitano.
Man,
I mean, what could go wrong? Well, but it's bacteria. It's not genetically. They were genetically engineering them to, to not breed. What is it? Females or whoever it is, whichever the ones that were the biters. Them biters.
Right. Females are the biters. Yeah.
Are they? Well, then so they were genetically engineering them to never have female babies.
I love it.
But I feel like that's a gene drive that. And that was literally once that was established, that would it would kill off mosquitoes. But don't you think we've been here before? Like, I feel like we kill things off, then we go, oh, that's why they were there.
You're going to have to take me outside during the summer sometime. And you'll go, hey, Lance, there's 3 mosquitoes on your arm.
Yeah.
Would you like me to do something?
Can I just, well, man, that'd be amazing. I could just be slapping you all the time.
Yeah, you'd just be flicking.
You wouldn't even know.
Real full.
You wouldn't even know.
I know exactly what's going on. I can feel it. And then you slap them.
That's it.
And they splatter blood because they've been dining so long.
Yeah.
Ooh,
you wait, or we used to pinch them off and hold them, and then they would explode. They're horrible things.
I never did anything
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
No, you could do that. It's...
My brother had all these muscles and veins, and he could, make a muscle, and they couldn't pull their nose back out.
And then they explode.
And then they would,
Yeah, that's it. They get too. Oh God, they're so gross. They're just I mean, they're both revolting and thoroughly fascinating. The insect world, they don't do. The insect world does nothing. Yeah, the insect world doesn't do anything in a non-horror film way. Like everything about insects is just freaking terrifyingly revolting. But the thing that it can stop, which I think was the big one, they're saying like 77% of dengue fever would be wiped out by this. And dengue fever, get this. How about this for the prize of a name for a fever? So dengue fever, that doesn't say much to me. I'm like, oh, you got a fever, big deal. No, you know what it's known as? Bone break fever. Now that is a fever I do not want. I had a friend who just came back from somewhere, I don't know, probably Brazil, and he had dengue fever, and he said it was miserable. He never mentioned bone break fever, but I will next time I see him. I'll say, hey.
I think I heard that, don't you go into contractions that are
so terrible.
Like spasms that will break your bones.
Awful. Yeah, absolutely. Right? I don't know if it actually breaks bones, but it feels like I didn't know about the spasm thing it hadn't occurred to me that could be the reason for the bone break thing. But yeah, that just, anything that involves the words bone break and fever, it just makes me feel like I might be getting sick already.
Yeah.
Hypochondria.
I'm sure you have it.
I probably do.
When you were did you say Bulgaria?
Yes.
And you were handling boa constrictors or something of the like?
What do you need to know about boa constrictors? Avoid them at all. No, they're very sweet animals, actually. I got to say.
You made me laugh so hard because you're like, do they bite? Well, only if you touch them.
No, they only bite. That's right.
Only if they bite you.
No, it was like, is it safe? I said, is it safe? And he said, yes, of course, totally safe. Just don't let it bite you. And I was like, what? They bite? Well, only if you hold them wrong. I was like, well, that's what I'm asking. Like, how do I hold them? Well, don't hold them at the mouth. I'm like, well, I wasn't going to hold them at the mouth. And then I'm like, well, but are they poisonous? No poison. Only if you're allergic. I'm like, how do you know if you're allergic? Well, you get bitten. I was like, oh my God, Bulgaria. Bulgaria was also the place where we had a network executive came. A couple of network execs came, or a couple of writers. I can't remember what they were. Anyways, they showed up, and they had one of them had like a panic attack, and they ended up going to hospital in Bulgaria. They got taken to emergency in Bulgaria. And let's just say that guy didn't get out of bed for like a week after that, because they gave him like heroin. Like they're like,
Hey.
we'll calm you down. There's no problem. Here, take this. That was it. He was out for like a week. Not a care in the world. Yeah, that's Bulgaria. Just avoid. Yeah, maybe it's a better
Is
place
that
than it
where
was.
Did you meet Rachel Weisz up there?
No, Rachel Weisz was in Budapest. Yeah.
Okay, so a different godforsaken.
Do I mean
place.
Budapest?
Okay,
No, I don't
okay.
mean Budapest. What am I saying? Not Budapest. Was it Bucharest? I can't remember. Honestly, don't remember.
Why the hell were you all over Eastern Europe?
Oh, I know. Well, because I was living in England at the time with my father-in-law while he was alive, and he'd just fallen down the stairs. So we thought we'd go and live with him for a bit and just make sure he was cool. Turns out God was looking after him. That's what he kept telling us. I was like, well, actually, we're looking after you, but sure, God. But yeah, he fell down and broke his leg, and we had one of those things, like those little like, I've fallen and I can't get up, and you press the button and stuff.
Lifeguard.
Yeah, he didn't want to press it because he didn't want to cause any trouble.
Oh, God.
So he lay at the bottom of the stairs until the mailman showed up. Or whatever.
Oh, boy.
Or one of his friends. I'm like, oh my God, so we came and stayed with him. It was absolutely lovely because Baz got to know his grandfather, and I got to know him, and I knew him already, but it was great. I drove him crazy, and he drove me crazy because we're, both alpha males trying to, he had the way the things were done.
You're an alpha male?
I don't even know what an alpha male is.
Are you sure about that?
I think Jane's an alpha male, I think. But
now that, well, no, she's an alpha, just
an alpha in general. Yeah. No, it was just funny how, we're both doddering old men that Jane had to look after. It was basically what it came down to. We were just.
Wait, I got a science question for you then.
Yeah, go please.
There's one steak left.
Okay.
You and Momoa.
Yeah.
Are really hungry, and it's halfway in between on the table.
Oh yeah, I'd have it in a second.
Okay, maybe
absolutely, yeah.
But then Momoa would eat Hewitt.
But then he'd eat me, exactly. Oh. Yeah, no, he would murder me after. But I would. But yeah, no, I would. I'm like I'm like a rodent to Momoa's lion. Yes, he's like a lion. I am like a little rodent. That's basically where I am.
A mighty rodent.
I'm a mighty rodent. It's like, it's like, I would probably I'd scare lions with just how greasy and gross I am. I've got to go in. I got to go and check it up on the one and only child that I have, because he should be home by now. In fact, I should check to make sure he hasn't been texting me to tell me he's been murdered or anything. 3 messages. Nope. What's going on?
He's so awesome.
Oh boy. Jane is slumming it. Normally we get photos of Jane with champagne as she takes off for her flights. But because this is a work job and she's being responsible as a producer, instead of a personal flight, it's a business flight. So she doesn't feel she should fly business because why should the...
Wrong.
Yeah. I was like, because it's business? Anyway, so she's flying economy. Or as I would call it, steerage.
What?
And yeah, so the picture is her with fizzy water instead. Oh, I wanted
not like a Bud Light or something.
Not the 1% water you get up there in business.
No, not the 1% water. Just this is the cheap airport water that you're allowed to buy once you get through. They'll take the bottle away before you go through security, and then you can go and buy it from a store. Just down I never understood that. Never quite understood that.
Did they tell you they don't let wheelchair people in first class?
What?
Or at least they cannot maneuver themselves, such as myself.
Let's see, another great reason for flying first.
But I was right up front, up front. And
you weren't allowed to?
I was not. I had to go right behind the bulkhead, and I watched all the fancy people with their warm towels and
God,
choices of food.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta say,
it was amazing.
As long as someone else is paying for it, it's totally worth it. As soon as you're paying for it, it's not worth it. It's just not.
Well, it was NBC. NBC totally paid for it. Oh, well, and they tried to get me in first and couldn't get me in.
Oh, but they couldn't even. Oh my God! You need to sue everyone on the planet, Lance. Like, you seriously, you got the school board, you got the Comfort Inn, you got the freaking airlines. Are you kidding me? Why aren't you allowed in first class?
Something about you have to be able to help people escape. If you're in first class, and let's get real.
Well, you could.
Those rich people aren't going to help anybody.
They're not helping anybody. It's every man for himself. They'll be too busy grabbing their hand luggage that they're supposed to leave behind.
Right.
To help anybody.
Gimpy, let's face it. They just didn't like the cut of your jib.
I guess.
He looks like trouble.
All out of whack.
That kid looks like trouble. That is absolutely. They must have. That must be changed. That must have changed by now, hasn't it?
I don't know. That was like 2010.
Yeah, that was 13 years ago. That's a whole different world now,
God damn.
Lance. You burned your house down.
Yeah, now they just put them all the way at the back of the plane instead.
It's gotta be a violation of some sort. I can't imagine. Look, people are suing the companies because they're too big to sit in the seats. I mean, like, that's ridiculous. I should sue them. You know, the weird thing though is I've definitely noticed that the planes, certainly the planes I've flown in recently, maybe it's just my rapidly declining level of stardom, but in fact, you know, actually, it's actually funny. It reminds me of it. While we were doing Stargate, I had a joke with Mr. John Shepard. Oh, what's that? Oh shoot! I broke my keyboard. God damn it!
Again?
Oh my God! This bit's coming out of my keyboard. Ah, crap.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, Joe Flanagan. So Joe Flanagan and I used to have this joke about starting a fund for previously famous TV stars, so that they could fly first class like they're used to. Because
great.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, because those poor actors, you know, they used to fly first, and now they're in economy, and people are still asking them about the show.
And you get Sarah McLachlan up there on the commercial.
Yeah, saying like, you know, please help these poor, yeah. So that's what we thought. We thought we should start because the reality is I would go for that fund in a second now. But no, I've become cheap. I've become cheap in my old age. I used to love flying fancy class all the time, and now I just feel like I'd rather have the money for a laptop, or a, you know, or an iPhone, or a, you know.
Listen, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
like, especially if it's a long flight.
Oh God,
Lord.
It could be. Well, Jane's flying to New Zealand. That's probably $6,000 right there. I mean, and that's
business class ticket. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Business is worth it, but we always go economy. I'll tell you what I like the most. I'll tell if you. Here's a little trick for flying to New Zealand: premium economy. Again, unless Jane's trying to be responsible, so she's not flying premium. But
okay.
But premium economy is not that much more expensive, but it's worth it because you've got leg room. Air New Zealand's one of my favorite airlines on the planet. In fact, sponsor me because I love you. Yeah, we loved flying with Air New Zealand. Air Canada.
Okay.
WestJet. I've flown Air Canada and WestJet recently, and I swear to God, they've stuck an extra seat in there somewhere. I don't know how, but it feels like there's an extra seat in there. I have never felt so cramped in my life. Especially, my God, the WestJet. The WestJet, I was like, oh, this is great. Because, of course, I'm friends with the producer, so I fly in the middle seat. You know, what's the cheapest seat you've got? Great, get that for Hewlett. It was Winnipeg. It was a short flight. Okay, I got to go. What am I doing? I can't be talking to you guys.
Wait, real quick. No,
I've got a child to raise.
When you said you had, like, this advice for where to fly, or, you know, like, flying cheap, but getting, you know, stuff that you need, I was almost positive you're going to say, have your wife put you in a dog kennel. Wrap the dog kennel so they can't see inside.
That would be the way to go.
You need chicken and beef.
Yeah.
And then you get sent in the air, you know, like a animal class.
They could have like a special actor animal class, like where they. Yeah, I would. Yeah. Look, I feel like the dogs must have a great time. They got their own space. They get to imagine bringing your own little study with you. You know, that you're used to sleeping in anyways. My dog, I'll tell you a quick story because, of course, I'm, as always, terrible at leaving when I say I'm going to. But we had a dog years ago, my first wife. We had this wonderful dog called Newton. And Newton looked very much like Mars, was sort of a Mars bar colored dog. And we put the dog in, we took the dog, put it in the cage. The dog got taken away down the you know, whatever it's called, the little conveyor belt thing. And then we went to security, and then there was alarms started going off, and and they said an animal is loose in the building, and Newton came running up through security and said hi. And Newton had got out of the cage and came running to get us. And this was pre 9/11. They said if he hadn't run to us, they would have shot him, which I thought was interesting. But apparently, yeah, they won't risk it. They would shoot the animal. But yeah, the dog came running to come and see us. Yeah, there you go. Was it us?
That makes me want to cry.
I think it was me.
That's so
coming to see me.
cute.
Oh my God! The last time I saw that dog. Oh, I'm gonna make myself teary. The last time
Are you
I saw
gonna
that.
cry?
Last time I saw that dog, because I lost the dog in the divorce. Only thing I missed.
What?
And yeah, and so the dog, you have to go to a separate entrance at LAX to send the dog back to Toronto. And I went in with the dog, and they said, so I did all the paperwork, and they said, okay, can you get the dog to stand on the scales? And I went, yeah, okay. I went, Newton, and I pointed at the scales, and the dog. I had that dog so well trained. The dog walked up, sat on the scales, and they're like, holy crap. And I look over, and the whole group of people who work in this facility had stopped and were like, did you see that? And I was so freaking proud. Last I ever saw my dog. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna cry for you, man.
It's the last time I ever saw my dog. Yeah. I don't know how it died. I don't know what happened, but apparently I just got an email one day. Yeah, Newton's not around anymore. I was like, oh.
I don't know who that girl is or anything, but she's a bitch, man. I'm just saying.
Well, the poor woman was married to me. I'm sure she was. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can't imagine.
Yeah.
But isn't that wild? Like,
happening.
so, but just as a vision of a dog, I hold all of my dogs to that standard. Of course, Huzzah is like the the special child.
Opposite.
Oh my God, the freaking worst. The worst dog ever.
Huzzah's not that bad.
There's a tunnel. There's a tunnel in my backyard under the brand new fence we bought because she's found the neighbors bury their kimchi, or they make these vats of stuff in the. Well, that my dog wants in on that. So, anyways, got the best neighbors. We live in the best neighborhood. It's the best. Like, it's a great place for a dog if you love the dog, but don't love the dog.
Man, I'm going to be haunted by Newton for days.
Isn't it? Newton was amazing. So I used to train Newton in a park below the Hollywood sign. And I used to tie a huge long string to him. And so he could go as far as he wanted to. And I'd sort of go, Newton! And he would stop and sit no matter what he was doing. So other dogs would come up, and then if he started to move while the other dogs were around, I would give him a little on the string, and he'd stop. It was amazing. The dog was so well trained. The problem is I just don't have the time to train him. Like Za, I don't have time to train the way I trained. I was an unemployed actor in Hollywood, for God's sake. I had all the time in the world to train a dog. Anyway,
Huzzah's the result of poor fatherhood.
That's it. It's all about nurture. There's no nature. That dog is a freaking
I don't know.
Kangaroo wrapped in a coyote wrapped in a.
Touching you, Dad.
Yeah. No, I love Za. She's
Newton
lovely.
Sounds special.
I love Newton was special, and Huzzah is special, if you know what I mean.
Special.
Yeah. Za is the loudest dog I've ever owned. She barks all the time. She talks all the time. She sits in the window farting loudly and making weird mouth noises. Like she's like the worst roommate you could ever wish for. And I'm sure I'll miss her terribly when she's gone, but
you know what? I bet she's keeping you from the sentient raccoons from taking over your house. You don't
it's
even
true.
know
She
they're
goes
there right
toe
now.
to toe
Yep.
with those raccoons, big time. All I know is she will take Jane's position in the bed. Like she will take over Jane's half of the bed from now on until Jane gets back. Jane will have to sort of move her out of the way when she gets back. All right, I gotta go.
Okay, but
Gentlemen, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, Five Pup. Thank you very much, Fluffy the Cat, Gimpy G, Malvin Tano. A pleasure. Thank you for this lovely surprise. I guess we'll.
oh yeah, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, well, old. Just
That
old.
thing. Yeah.
It's all done. The birthday thing's done now. We're over that now. It's Cal's birthday now. Let's just celebrate that.
Oh yeah, I do this thing where I move my numbers backwards. So like now I would be 35. See, so let's do that with you.
You're like an actor or a model or a supermodel.
Oh.
Yeah. So I move my numbers backwards. What would I be? I'd be 54.
55.
55. No, I'm 55 now. So
No, that's what I mean.
oh,
I'm
you flip the
53.
numbers? Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Oh God, that sucks. Oh,
Yeah, you're 55 no matter what.
No matter what, I'm just freaking
Holy,
old.
you have no choices.
You know, I could retire in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
I mean, I claim to be retired now, but apparently, like, technically, I will be in a decade's time. I'll be taking my pension out. All that Stargate money put aside is coming out. Yeah, I didn't know this, but you actually have to take the money out. Did you know that?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, as of 65, you got to start taking the money out, even though if you don't want it. Yeah. So Jane's like, well, you want to make sure you're not working too much. Then I was like, shouldn't be. I think I can handle that. I got that. I'm gonna have a pig and a tractor. My goal.
Wish granted.
Yeah, my goal is to become Sam Neill, where he just posts randomly pictures of him drinking wine with his sheep and stuff. That's gonna be me and my pig. All right, get out of here, gents. We'll talk soon. Thank you all very much. I will wrap up. And yes, and we'll catch up soon, I'm sure. All right, cheerio, gents. All right. I've done the Discord first. I meant to do the stream first. Anyways, everyone, be safe, be kind, be brilliant. Until we geek again, I will say cheerio and, of course, huzzah. Talk soon. Thanks very much. Sign up. Email of awesomeness. Please do that. TechBandits.org. Please. Sign yourself up. Sign your friends up. Sign your enemies up. Sign everyone up. That's how I'm sort of keeping in touch with everyone right now, and it's just a fun way to do some science stuff. And what else do I have to tell you? That's about it. Go check out GitPG if he's streaming, and definitely Jack Jastra. Cal, thank you very, very much for being so understanding as always. All right, lots of love. Cheers. Bye.